Oh, Banksy's already here. Welcome, man. Let me see how the stream looks. Let me pull it up.
Welcome in, Pinksy.
Mm-hmm. Oh wow, that shit look nice and professional. Hey yo, that's crazy. Last night I think was
Heartless
like the
has the
first time I
most
played with him.
distinctive voice. Heartless has the most distinctive voice. You can't
No, no
help but
way,
miss it.
no
Hell yeah,
way.
you do.
Nah, I, that's crazy. Bell out here. I gotta get. Let me get my fist bumps in.
Yeah, me and mine in too. I don't know if I'm allowed to see here. I'm hella lagging with the fist bumps. I only have like 6. Yeah, 7 fist bumps. What a joke. What a horrible, horrible audience member I am. Only 7 fist bumps. Welcome in, Bello.
Welcome in. They can't hear you. They can't hear you. That's crazy.
Oh, I gotta do that whole intro again. Let's start over.
Can you guys hear me?
Can you hear me?
Oh, they can hear me. Obviously, if Pinksy recognized my
Yeah.
voice. Yeah, yeah. So
That happened. Anyways, we can
Sound
fix
off in
it.
chat. You can hear both. You can hear
Check.
all 3 of
Testing.
us.
There
Hear
we
me?
go. I'm here now. Okay. It's fine.
All
We can
right.
start over. We can do all of that in post.
Yeah, there you
All
go.
right, guys.
You
Well,
get it.
there we go. All right, guys. Sorry about that. Welcome to the Gamer Actual Podcast, the show that we talk about all things video game. Now, tonight we have a very special guest. Shout outs to Heartless. Shout outs to Germ. And without further ado, I bring to you Ahmed. You can find him on Twitter, and he's a big Xbox guy. So we brought him in here to kind of share his expertise, not only with Xbox, but the gaming industry in general. So,
Xbox is all in the news right now. You can't be a gamer without talking about Xbox right now.
right,
So,
right. But, you guys have something to say?
no,
shout out to
just
Aki.
yeah. Shout out
Thank
to
you,
Aki.
thank
Welcome
you,
in, man.
thank you. I
We're
appreciate it, guys.
All right,
you
got.
are our first. You are our first inaugural guest, by the way.
Yes,
So
that's
you have
right. Our
big.
first guest.
You are
Facts.
setting the precedent for all future guests. No pressure.
Right?
I appreciate that. Thank you so
Yo,
much.
thank you for
This is
coming
pretty
in.
awesome.
Yeah, thank you for coming in. So before we get into the meaty part of our conversation, we're gonna talk about some of the games that came out this week. Brothers: Tale of Two Sons remake, Star Wars: Dark Forces remastered. I'm not familiar with that one. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and Welcome to Paradise. Any thoughts on
That
any of those games?
the, three of them are remakes.
3 of them are remakes.
Three of them are remakes.
Rebirth is not
Uh,
necessarily a remake,
I,
is it? It's
I'm
not.
gonna let
Yeah, it
Heartless
is.
talk about the other ones because I have a lot to say about Final Fantasy Rebirth. I've been waiting for this game for years and
That's
years and
crazy.
years.
That's the one I did not look up.
Oh wow.
Okay. Ah,
But it is the remake of the original Final Fantasy game. It's a part of that story, that
but
series.
Right.
Correct me if I'm
um,
mistaken.
Yeah, it is. It is.
yeah, I was just joking. I'll lead off with the brothers one. The brother one seems really interesting to me. I was watching the trailer and doing the research. It seems like it seems what got me the most excited is that it's local co-op.
Hmm.
Praise the Lord.
Yeah,
Like
we don't have much
seriously,
of
like
those. We
lo-
definitely don't have much of
lo-
those.
local co-op in games is so rare these days. I think the last one we had was what is it? It Takes Two.
Hmm.
Yeah, I was about to
That
ask. It
game.
plays like that.
Hmm.
Yeah, it seems like it plays very similar. You have like your two characters that are side by side, and you have to like traverse all these different things. It reminds me a lot of ICO. I don't know if anyone remembers that callback from
No.
way back in the day.
I don't.
It's like this old platformer, kind of like Prince of Persia,
Mm.
or kind of like Shadow of the Colossus, where you have this girl with you, and you have to like lead her through these puzzles and stuff. She was the original Ashley before Ashley. She could only move forward if you were holding her hand, and
Oh wow.
this game, that game wasn't local co-op, so you had to do it all solo. But this game seems like that. It reminded me a lot of that, and yeah, shout out to PlayStation, another PlayStation exclusive. So,
It's a
and it
PlayStation
also,
exclusive.
that's what it said in the trailer. It just said PlayStation, and then in the tags, it's only
Um,
listed PlayStation.
it was out
So,
on Xbox prior though, because the original game was on Xbox, and how it was set
okay.
up was, it wasn't co-op. The first game wasn't co-op. You are the one controlling both characters in the original game.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, like I said, it reminded me a lot of
Yeah.
other
Go ahead,
I was
Artis.
saying,
It's crazy. I can't imagine how people would like it. You use one joystick and trigger to control one character, and then the other joystick and trigger to control another character. So you control them two characters at the same time. It's crazy.
Damn. I didn't have that much experience with it, but I am familiar with the game. I don't know, bro.
I'm just happy local co-op is back on the table. Like,
Right.
seriously.
Yeah, I agree. The
Mm.
local co-op is we're missing that a lot today. and
Yo, local co-op is dying, bro. I'm being real with you
Outside-
guys.
too fast.
Too
Too
fast.
fast.
Outside of fighting games, like what other games are local co-op now?
Right?
I can,
Nah, but not even that. I'm talking about like story-driven co-op. We don't have much story-driven like co-op games unless it's like an online game, right? It's like
But
it's either
that's
Call
where we're
of
heading,
Duty. Yeah, that's where we're headed. But it's like it's either Call of Duty or what did we play last night? Helldivers. But it's never
shit was
in the
lit.
same room. You can't play in the same room with someone anymore. You don't
yeah, you
have
can't
that
sit
luxury.
shoulder to shoulder with them.
No.
And you can't sit on the same couch and play with anyone these days.
It's always
very
some kind of competitive
2020.
game.
That is a loss of value there if you think about it too.
Mhm.
Like a loss of financial value.
How so?
Like because when you buy a game for $60, you used to buy a game for $50, and you and your brother could play together.
Right.
Now two people in the same household are forced to buy two copies of one game.
Not only that, 2 consoles.
Well,
Yeah, two
I think
consoles.
the hardware companies might benefit from that because when you buy a PlayStation, it only comes with one controller, so you'd have to buy a second. Have you
Wow.
needed to buy one prior to that?
Yeah,
So,
but it
Bruh.
doesn't make up. It doesn't make up for now. I see what you're saying. But they're making more money forcing you to buy extra hardware in terms of a console, and buy an extra copy of every game, every single game you want. You know, they could sell off like, hey, like, you get like an extra controller, but you're still only getting $50 worth of value there, and you still have to go buy every copy of the game. It's not the same as it used to be, where you'd have the extra controller, you buy the extra controller, you buy the game, you only spend $50 on the game once.
Right.
And that's gone. That's dead.
That's
well, a
dead.
question to the PC gamers out there: do you think that this is, good for the future of PC gaming to have local co-op? Because local co-op's not really possible with PC gaming. So,
Well,
is that good or bad for the industry?
what about Parsec? If the game has local co-op, you can use Parsec, but you still
Yeah.
need two PCs.
Yeah, we
See?
definitely still need 2 PCs for that.
And who has two PCs sitting next to each other in the same room, outside of an office, outside of a corporate office? So,
Yeah, that's true. So
That
yeah,
feeling's gone.
yeah, PC like co-op games are dying out, and it's dying out way too fast. It's almost as if they're not even making it, bro. Just to think about when It Takes Two came out, like it was the talk of the town when the game just
yeah,
came
it won
out,
Game
bro.
of the Year,
It
right?
won Game of the Year, bro.
Yeah.
To show
It
you
just
how
shows you.
how
That
much
was
of
major.
how much of a like commodity that game was. Like people
It
love
shows
the
you
game.
there's a market for this.
Mhm,
That
there is.
people
There is.
want this.
This also reminds me, side note, this also reminds me of when, that when we had that dry spell of like single player games, we weren't getting any single, it was always co-op games. And then Star Wars came out. Not Jedi Survivor. What's the first one again? Jedi. What's the first Star Wars Jedi
yeah.
game?
The Jedi one.
Yeah.
I think it's
Jedi
Jedi
Survivor
Survivor.
one.
No,
I'm
Survivor is
gonna-
the second one.
I'm gonna stop you right there, Cash, because that game doesn't get the credit for the revival of single player. Dark Souls gets the revival of of
No,
solo
no, no,
player
definitely.
content.
But no, it became
Yeah.
a lot. That was the big conversation when that game came out. Like, yo, this is proof that people are clamoring for more single player games. That's when
Okay.
everything hit
Yeah.
its fever pitch. I remember that.
Jedi Fallen Order.
Jedi Fallen
Yeah.
Order. Thank you, Chad.
That's what it is. That's a good game.
Yeah, the game was a lot of fun. But yeah, that's what
It
I'm
Um,
is
talking
good.
about.
I
Like
got
a
it for
I
lot of
will
free on
say
things.
this though. I will say this though. Think about it this way. If you have a game in which two players sit next to each other side by side and they play on one screen, that means the two characters and all of their actions have to be on one screen. So there is limitations. So there is advantages that you get by having two consoles, two screens, and two players that control two people that control their characters non-locally because they get to experience the game in a different way.
I'm
When
gonna
two play,
respond to that when you're finished there. I'll respond to that
you got it.
when you're
I was
done.
just gonna say
Uh,
the only other option is split screen.
what I would say is the response to that would be games like Diablo 3. If anyone remembers X-Men Legends back in the day,
Bro,
Oh
don't
man,
don't
that
even get
you
me
game.
know,
started.
Ultimate Alliance. Those games are all on one screen, and you could play with four people. And it
Right,
was all on one screen, and I think that actually enhanced the co-op experience because you all had to travel together. No one got left behind. You know what I'm saying?
right.
Yep.
So
Absolutely.
just from that perspective, co-op wins. You know,
But
co-op reign.
but if that's the
But
game you want to make, that's the game you want to make. But if you want to make a game, imagine a game like Elden Ring in which the two players were forced to play on one screen.
that wouldn't work.
No,
That
it
wouldn't
wouldn't
Yeah, you're
work.
work.
right there.
It wouldn't
You would
work.
have to be like the top, one on top, one on the
One on the
bottom to be
bottom,
even.
and then
Yeah.
you get like I don't like
But
that experience.
TVs are so big now, that's not a factor. Back when we were doing that, back in the 64 days, when TVs were only like 12 inches and you had four screens on that same shit, that was
Bro,
a
That was
totally different
crazy.
thing. But now,
I don't think
We
my
don't play
eyes would
on
one
TVs
adjust.
quarter
though.
of a
We play on
screen would be
monitors
24
nowadays.
inches.
Yeah.
So,
We play on
yeah.
monitors nowadays though. We don't play on TV screens.
Well, those monitors are only probably about 24 inches,
And
right?
that's what I'm
So,
saying. So for you to get a monitor the size of a TV big enough so that playing local co-op is is feels nice and smooth, you're spending a lot of money.
to be
Although,
honest, it probably would be better to have it split up like that because if you're thinking of you're watching a game and you're having this one game and it's split up amongst this giant like 40-inch television, I don't know how great that would be playing a game like that.
yeah,
So if it's all broken up, you might get better graphic resolution, have it being smaller,
I'm not sure. I'm
smaller.
not sure about the
I don't know.
technology behind
I don't
that.
know.
What?
That's something that PC players would
Mm-hmm.
benefit from and like because playing co-op or multiplayer on PC, you can like extend the screen across multiple displays, so
Oh
you don't really
yeah,
gotta deal with that.
yeah. That's right.
Yeah, that's
That
true.
that is actually
And
right.
then a lot of streamers have like their
That is true.
chat on one screen and stuff. You couldn't do that on a TV. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
a good point.
Exactly.
Like for me, my setup is like a 3 monitor setup.
Yeah,
Heartless
same.
just told me it's not productive, but like I don't have an issue because I don't
I
have
didn't
to
say
like
that.
turn my neck.
I just said that if he's
Okay,
doing this,
Heartless.
this is
Yeah, I'm not. I'm
And this
definitely not
and
because
this
I
is
can see my
and this
entire
is
screen.
coming. This Heartless this is coming from the player that plays on keyboard and stick at the
Right.
same time.
Yo, but
Come
if
on
you think
now.
about it, I do that. So no, my arm
You
doesn't have to move, and my arm doesn't have to move, and I
you
can just
must
sit
have
like
the
this.
most cluttered desk space because those are big equipment all in one space.
If you guys seen some of the stuff just sitting on my desk, you'd be like, why is this there? Why does he have a bag of dice? We don't know.
It's just there.
Why is there Tracer from Overwatch? We don't know.
Yeah, see?
It's dope though.
Yeah.
That is dope. You
Have
have
you
like
started
perfect.
collecting action figures, Heartless?
I not enough, not
Not
enough.
enough?
I
Okay.
have one Funko Pop and I have that, and I wish. But to me, the problem for me is I like the really detailed and like kind of
Me
bigger
too.
ones,
Me too.
and they're expensive as hell.
Oh yeah.
Like
Yeah,
the Bridget
I
one
like
from
Legos.
Guilty Gear is like $300. I'm like,
Wait,
the
what
hell?
now?
It's $300.
Nah, I'm good. I mean,
Yeah, I'm all about.
I just signed up for Fan Home, right? They're actually one of our sponsors. But bro, it's actually pretty good though. But the only difference is with Fan Home, you have to build your models from the ground up, right? And that's how it gets its value because you're getting them at pretty cheap. But the thing is, you have to assemble the model, and that's it. But it's
Nice.
pretty dope. Like I have this right
I'm
now.
all about the Legos. I'm
See,
all about the Legos.
I'm still at the
He
head
just
for
got
Iron
into
Man.
Legos.
Yeah, really? I'm still at the head for Iron Man. I'm not done yet. Like I have the whole body to do, but I still haven't found time to do it. But
We have ignorance in chat asking why will companies make local co-op games if Wi-Fi exists? do you
I
guys feel about
mean,
that?
that doesn't say anything about local co-op either way, though. Like
I don't
we're
know. I
still.
kind of almost agree with him. It's like if 80% of your player base is sitting alone in their rooms,
Hmm.
uh, are they justified in making
Well,
games?
I'm going to respond to Ignorant's comment with this is the whole idea of video games needs to break away from this sort of individual in your basement kind of experience to
Right.
the more social aspects of gaming, which we're going to get on Wi-Fi anyway when we stream it. That we're looking for that social
What do you think
engagement.
companies want
Just
though?
eliminate the Wi-Fi
I'm
and
not even.
actually do it in
I'm not even
person.
thinking that far ahead. I'm thinking about the kids who have like a sibling and they want to play games together. They would have to
No.
get a whole other device and like Heartless said,
All kids
another
do that
game.
nowadays. All
What
kids
play?
do that.
What play together or play online?
Some of my best moments growing up as a gamer were playing, going over to a friend's house after school and
Hmm.
playing Mario Kart with them, playing GoldenEye 6, GoldenEye, playing those kind of
Yes.
games with
Hmm.
them. Having my Kool-Aid and my after-school snack, and we're just
Kool
sitting
Aid.
there, playing a game,
Facts.
like those are great
Facts.
times. Those are my foundational moments in gaming, and
Right.
the
Like I,
last couple generations really haven't had a chance to enjoy that
like
besides one or two games,
like
you
I
know.
explained to Heartless. I don't think did we have this conversation today. Like I make most of my friends that I've made over the years were through video games.
Um,
Most of my
Hold on,
closest friends were through
You
video
know what's
do you
games.
have
crazy?
ads on, Cash, or did you mean to turn them off real quick?
No, I
Because it
did.
said Ignorance says he has an ad.
Yeah, he has an
It's
Android.
okay.
It's
It's
fine.
okay.
Okay, cool,
Uh,
cool. Just wondering.
You know
Sorry.
what's crazy? Now
Hmm.
that I think about it,
Hmm.
the last night
Hmm.
playing Helldivers
Yeah.
is the very first time that I have played a co-op experience.
Outside of
Since I was
Overwatch?
since I was, it's not the same. It's
Hmm.
not the same. Overwatch is a competitive game. I'm talking about like four
Playing
people get
together.
together.
Yeah.
Four people
Mhm.
get together for like one common PVE thing. I haven't done that since I
I
was a kid.
love it.
Since I
Yeah.
was a
I,
kid,
And it was so much fun last night, bro.
it
I
was a
love
lot
the,
of
I
fun.
could
Hmm.
tell, when we talked about this game the first couple episodes and I was telling you guys about it, like, I was right, right? Like, that game is just fun incarnate.
Hmm.
It's just the homies just having some laughs, spreading democracy, killing bugs.
Spreading
It's just a great
democracy.
game,
Spreading
right?
democracy.
It's
Yo, the entire night last night we were for
yeah,
democracy.
I love the
that
Every
game.
satire.
second. Yeah, it
It's
was
Everything
fun.
I
great.
do in my life now is for democracy.
Oh
Think
wow.
about that. Think about that feeling, Heartless and Cash, yesterday. Imagine if you guys would have all been in the same room.
Right.
How much hyper that would have been,
That'd been
So,
crazy.
That would
it
have
would
been
have been,
super hype.
Yeah.
But the
yeah.
experience in terms of the physical limitations, when you have four people looking at one screen, we're not gonna lie. Each person having their own screen is
Yeah, it's
it's
definitely
just,
better in that situation.
Helldivers wouldn't exist actually if we were forced to play on one screen together locally. It
Well, it
couldn't.
would definitely would lessen the experience. I'll
It
give you
would.
It would.
that. But I think it would still be fun
Yeah,
overall. So,
absolutely, absolutely.
Speaking about another space-esque game, Star Wars Dark Forces remastered. Is anybody a fan of that game? Has anybody ever played
I
that game?
I will say this.
Hmm.
I have never
When I
played it, but it's a legacy game. Like I've
Yeah.
heard, it's
almost
one of
30
the
years
games
old.
if you're a Star Wars person, you hear about. It's like one of those legacy Star Wars games that have Star Wars fans always talk about. But
Hmm.
I've never personally played it.
I've never personally
But
played it either. I just know it
It's
came out this week.
what
it's
I
like
found. Go ahead.
Star Wars if it
Hmm.
was made by Quake.
That's what I was
It
about to
looks like
say. It
a
looks like a
Doom.
Doom clone.
It looks like
It's
Doom
first person
Star Wars.
shooter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a first person
Yeah.
shooter.
Ahmed, what are your
Which
thoughts on the game?
I mean, I've never played it,
Hmm.
but to you guys' point, once I saw it, I hit up one of my friends who's a big Star Wars fan, and I'm like, "Yo, did you check this out?" But definitely not in
Yeah.
my lane.
Yeah. No, definitely not. It's definitely a boomer shooter for sure.
Well, it feels like they're
Yeah.
definitely capturing that audience that probably
Yeah.
maybe a little older than us that loves Star Wars.
I know a lot of people
And
that still play games like that. There's still new games that are coming out that's made that way. There's a game I recently saw today that is a new game, but it's made in that style.
you want to hear a fun fact?
What?
Like the Doom, the original Doom,
Hmm.
has been played on literally every peripheral you can imagine. There's a video that you guys want to look it up of someone playing Doom, the original Doom, on a pregnancy test.
What?
That's
Yeah, no
crazy.
joke. On a pregnancy test. The game has
Jesus.
literally been uploaded to everything.
I mean, you can
Jeez.
turn anything into a button if you do it right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna save the Final Fantasy Rebirth because Germ's gonna
Oh,
kill
you go.
that.
Lead us off, Cash. Lead
So
us off.
what about Welcome to Paradise? Has anybody checked that out? Ahmed, I know you said you started playing it.
Yeah, I was actually pretty excited when I saw it. I had it wish listed on Steam.
Mm-hmm.
I played about a good half an hour of it so far. Definitely want to play more of it. And like the whole gameplay loop seems fun. It kind of opens you up to it right away, like controllable zombies and stuff like that. It
Mm.
reminded me of like Diablo Power World. I've never played
Yes.
another
Oh,
game.
really?
That's what
Keep
I
in
have in
Yeah,
my
mind if
notes
you
but
here.
with
mix those
Yeah.
two,
zombies.
yes, if you mix those two games together and made it about zombies, that is that game.
That's what I have in my notes. It's like a Pal World,
Diablo
top-down Pal World.
Power.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a
Yeah.
Wow.
top-down.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
One thing I got a lot of Terraria vibes from it too. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Terraria. Like it kind of gave me that vibes too with like the resource management, and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that. In
So,
addition to Power.
Cash, let me break it down for you.
Yeah.
You can hunt zombies
Mm-hmm.
and put a helmet on them and make and control them.
Holy
It's the
shit!
same
It
thing.
is
The
Power.
same. It's the same thing you do with pals. You put a helmet on them, you control them. They go back, and I think they work your base. You build the base. It's customizable.
Mm-hmm.
But it's top down like Diablo. But it is Power World and
Um,
Diablo.
One thing I want
Wow.
to note about the game is I watched the trailer and I watched a few other videos and some content creators, and I was looking in the chats and the notes,
Mm-hmm.
like all the comments for all the different stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like there's a lot of zombie fatigue out there. Like a lot of people are like, "Oh, another zombie game. Oh, zombies again." And I was just like, "Oh wow, when did zombies become? When did zombies become not cool? I thought zombies were internally cool. That took me by
I
surprise."
love zombies.
We all
Yeah,
Like
love zombies.
I was
movies,
surprised.
TV
Like, who doesn't
shows,
love zombies?
games. I'm
Wa-
like, yeah, I want more.
Yeah, Walking Dead
Yeah,
just started back, and I'm
yeah.
super
They have a
excited.
new show. They
Mm-hmm.
have a new show
The
that
ones
they're
that
doing
live.
now. Yeah, it just took me by surprise. I was like, who are you? Like those questions should be those comments should be
You know
deleted
what it
because
is?
everyone loves
The
zombies.
thing is, people are tired of uninspired zombie games. That's what it is.
This
Like,
is though.
no, this is definitely a different
This is.
take on the whole zombie formula. It's pretty dope. I like it, but it's definitely people. That's what I think people are fatigued by. Like a lot of these games are it's pretty similar when you think about it, right? With these zombie games, like it's either a survival horror type situation or it's a first person shooter, which is what was that zombie game that recently came out? The one that came out,
Left 4 Dead.
was it Left
Left
4
4
Dead?
Dead or no? That's not recent, but it's
Back for Blood.
Back for Blood. There we go. Back for Blood was the big game that came out, and I feel like that game fizzled out in like 2 weeks. People were super hyped
yeah.
and they were on the game for like that first 2 weeks, and afterward, it just no more
I
talks
think
about
that
it.
game is a perfect example of the industry eating itself because it came out during a year we had such the greatest year of gaming in recent memory.
Yeah,
And
a lot of these games, I feel like.
all the games just ate each other. They
Hmm.
just like this game was better than this one, and everyone's talking about this one and this one and this one, and you didn't know what to play as a gamer because everything was so good, and you only have so much time and
Right.
money.
And even okay games were kind of just fell to the wayside. Not even great games. Okay games kind of just like fell onto everyone's radar.
Any other game, any other year, a game might have been, well received, but not last year,
Mm.
because there was just so much
That's also
good
like the
stuff.
crazy thing, right? Last year was such a great year in gaming, but yet we have so many We're gonna get to it, but we have so many layoffs. Just these two past months or this past 2 months alone. There's so many layoffs already. It's almost like what a third.
We have a
Says
list of them here.
8,000, almost 8,000 layoffs so far
Jesus,
this
bro,
year, which
almost
is
8,000. Was ten
last year it
thousand,
topped out at last year it topped out around 10,000. So we're almost there, and we're only 3 months into the year, two
That's
months
bro?
into
crazy.
actually.
2 months in the year. That's
Yeah,
insane, bro. Bro.
that's crazy.
Yeah, but
I
yeah.
do
So.
know,
Mhm.
just to put a little perspective on that,
Mhm.
I'll just let you touch on it because I know that's not our main topic right now.
Mhm.
But fiscal years always end at the end of March. That's like business talk. They always end at the end of March, and then
What
like
is that?
the
The end of
new
the tax
year
season?
begins. Yeah, so that might be why
They're
it's
doing what they're
happening
doing.
now.
Because it's
I'm
the
just saying
end of the
Eh.
fiscal
potentially,
year and not the beginning.
but that is just United States fiscal years. That doesn't necessarily apply to the world though, because they are different. So,
Right.
just say it. That just something to just to talk. We'll dive more into that later though.
Okay. All right. So yeah, Final Fantasy came out. Germ thoughts.
Dude, it's amazing. I have it
Mm-hmm.
already downloaded. I freed up the space on my hard drive. It's sitting there. I haven't started it yet,
Oh, you're
but
crazy.
I've watched some of the streamers already. I watched Bello playing it. Oh,
Yeah.
the game just looks fantastic. It looks absolutely amazing.
Let's
Like
go.
like I just can't get enough of the Final Fantasy, like this whole IP, especially Final Fantasy 7. I have to say the game is absolutely beautiful. A One of the prettiest Final Fantasies I've ever seen, and plus the
Probably
world.
the prettiest.
According to reports, the game.
What is that,
Yeah, according.
Heartless?
What is
This is
that?
Final Fantasy X TCG. I'm all about the Final Fantasy.
Oh
Okay.
shit. I think that
According to
needs to be your
reports,
thing now moving forward. You need to start just showing up shit. This every
according to
time we
reports,
mention something, show a
yeah.
collectible.
That'd be
According
funny.
to reports, the game has well over 100+ hours worth of gameplay.
I'd
Just
imagine so.
that's it. And you can go that even more if you grind out the rest of the game. To platinum the game, you're gonna be doing even more than
Wow.
that. 100+ hours in just
How many
like
gigs is it?
bare bones. This is not another chapter of the story. So you have a remake, which is like the first chapter of the
How many
original
gigs is that
story,
one?
like disc one. That one's about 20, 25 hours ish.
No, how many
If you just do
gigs?
the story.
Gigabytes.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't look. I
Let
just
me
I
look.
just downloaded it.
I
Let me
think
But
it's
look.
gonna be like a terabyte. By the time you finish out the whole series, Final Fantasy VII,
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and
and you
that's the
finish,
thing. Its reports are confirmed that it's just a piece of the original story as well. So
yeah,
there's going to be a third
Jeez.
one that comes along,
yeah,
maybe a
and
DLC, or at least a third. And yeah,
I heard it was
yeah,
gonna be
at least a
multi-disc.
terabyte. This one's got 2 discs if you buy it physically. But
Oh
So,
my
think
I
god.
about this.
downloaded.
So
So
this game is huge,
yeah,
Jeez.
and
100
it's
plus
only a
hours.
piece of the story. You're spending over a terabyte to experience the Final Fantasy
And
VII story.
what I love about this whole situation is like they have taken a story that was very complex from Final Fantasy VII, the original, and they have just so far expanded on it more than just gameplay. The visuals, the voice acting, the character models, the combat is it looks so good. I
It
haven't
looks sick.
physically tried it myself, but it is so fast and you're able to like customize your characters so well with the different weapons and materials. It looks like the perfect game.
Bro.
Maybe game of the year, maybe,
Too soon to
but
tell. I don't want to call
too
out
soon
any
to
games as game
tell.
of the year.
I'm still shooting my shot with Dragon's Dogma 2, but
But hold up.
well, that is to be seen. But the
Wait.
game looks absolutely breathtakingly good. I could easily see myself playing this over and over and over again for the next 10 years. It looks so good.
The game is almost 150 gigabytes.
Yeah, see?
Bro.
There you go.
Anybody else a
beefy.
Final Fantasy? Bro, listen. Anybody else a Final Fantasy fan in here?
I love the
And
art style, but as a
love
kid, it was
everything about it.
turn-based, and it stimulated my brain back then.
Mm-hmm.
But I grew out of turn-based. But then I'm seeing this new Final Fantasy game, and like you can actually hack and slash things in the real world.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, this is a different
That's what kind of
experience.
got me excited for this one too, because I was never a fan of turn. Let me take that back. I was a fan of turn-based games to an extent. Like, so there was a game called Secret of Mana. That was one of my favorite games. There's
Oh, yeah.
also Chrono Trigger. If you guys are an OG
Oh,
gamer, you know what
timeless
I'm talking
classic.
about. Those were
Absolutely.
those were a few of my favorite like RPG. Earthbound was also one of my favorite RPG games. Don't know how I fell in love with that game, but I love that game to death. So, but any other game, it's a turn off for me. I'm not the kind of person to play turn-based games. But then I saw Final Fantasy. But there's two. So my whole issue with Final Fantasy was kind of twofold. One was I thought the entire story of Final Fantasy from 1 all the way up to 15 was a connected
Don't
story.
admit this. Don't admit this. Don't admit this. Don't.
I didn't know.
You're gonna lose the validity of this. No, no, no.
What? No, I
Take it
I
back,
don't.
take it
Yeah,
back, take it
he's
back.
not alone. A lot of people think that.
Bro,
A lot of people think
And
that.
that's
You
the
can't
reason why
put that
I
on.
never played any. Because I'm like, yo, then I'm gonna have to go do homework. I'm not. Then shout outs to one of our viewers, Bello, one of our teammates, Bellows. He kind of explained that shit to me. Like, listen, no, it's two different. There's multiple stories. It's almost like an anthology series, right? And the only one that really has like a continuation is 7. Am I getting that correctly?
10
No,
has a 2,
no.
10?
and then 13 also has a sequel too.
Yeah.
But those are one-offs. That's not.
Right.
So 10 has a 10 too.
Yeah.
And I always thought that 7 had 7, and that what we're experiencing now is a remake of 7. But they also have the prequel, which came out
Well,
years
let
later,
me
Crisis
expand
Core.
on
Yeah,
that.
Crisis Core.
Is
Yeah.
Final Fantasy VII has never had an actual sequel to its game.
Yeah,
It's had other media that has added to the
yeah,
lore, like
Yeah.
yeah,
like
So
animes
that
and different things,
that's pretty
but
much what they explained.
it's never had an actual game that
Right,
is
yeah.
but
that's
the whole continuation, that's the reason why I never played it. But when he explained that to me, I was like, all right, maybe I could just pick up 7 then and play it. But now he's telling me I can't play Rebirth. I need to play the remake, then play Rebirth. And I'm like,
yeah,
all right,
because
good,
the
Yeah.
fine.
remake is the first chat. The beginning of Rebirth won't make any sense if you don't know what happened. I don't
Hmm.
want to spoil it for you,
I hear
but
the devs
something
say you don't have
crazy.
to.
No, you have to. Something hella crazy. Bella will back you up on this, I'm sure.
Hmm.
That's
Something crazy
crazy.
happens in the end of the fur remake that you will have to know to fully understand Seven.
That's
And
crazy. They just want the money. They want people to buy it, so they tell
Yeah,
people you don't have to pay
you
the
don't
another
price.
have
shout out.
exactly. The dev said that,
Another,
not me.
another shout out I want to say to Seven is I love the art direction they're taking. It looks realistic-ish, like
Hmm.
anime style, but it kept the soul of the original game where it's like just over the top steampunk kind of
Hmm.
action and
It reminds me
I love
of.
that.
It reminds me of a polished Advent Children. If you ever watched that
Oh yeah,
movie,
that movie was
Yeah,
dope.
Odd Ben Children's kind of what I was talking about. It adds on to the lore,
yeah,
but
it
it's
does.
different.
Movie was
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, the movie was
It,
dope. I wasn't a
I mean,
Final Fantasy fan then, and I watched that movie and I was like, geez, this
aesthetically
is
it was
awesome.
awesome, but people
Yeah.
complained. They said the kid that they had, like the story, the characters got bland. Cloud got sad. I'm like, yo, Cloud was struggling out here. Of
Right.
course he's sad.
Hmm.
I would
Of
have
course
cried
he's sad.
more in all of Final Fantasy other than maybe Titus
Titus be
and
crying.
Cloud. You know?
I also have this other comment. I believe so what we're experiencing now with Final Fantasy 7, you have to buy the game. You have to buy 3 games to experience it.
Hmm.
But
Yeah, it looks like it because the original game was 3 discs. Like if you
but
bought it from
one
PlayStation One,
purchase,
it had
one
three.
$50 purchase, you get all 3 discs and you play
So
the
now
game.
they're stretching it out.
Not as stretching it out. You're paying $180 to experience, and then you got to think about the $100 you spend on the new hard drive you got to buy because of course.
Well, to add on to that though, Harless, like they have expanded on the game so much, it may be worth it. It might be
I
worth
know
it. I
I
haven't
know
played
I
it
know.
yet. It's hard for me to say, but just from looks alone and the reputation of the series,
I'm PC
I
only.
think
I have
I'm
to
gonna,
wait.
I think I'm gonna like it. You know,
Okay.
I have, you know, I have no salt,
All right.
but
So moving on to our main topics for this episode, right? This actually is a layover from last week, which is the new name for Project L. I don't know how you
Oh.
guys feel about this. Chat, you guys can back me up. What's your temperature check about this as well? It's no longer called Project L, but 2XKO, which I'm not really sold on the name because I feel
what
like
do you,
we've had Project L for like 2 years, 3 years now, 2 years. I've
what,
kind of like adopted that name, so it's just
yeah.
hard for me to.
When you say the name 2XKO Hearthstone, what do you think of? Like, what does that make you think of as like
You
title?
gotta
Not
kill
just a
2 people to win the match. 2x, you gotta get 2 KOs.
Mhm.
yeah.
It's
Yeah,
trash
that's
now.
what
It's trash
I don't
now.
like it. I
I
don't
don't
like
like
it.
it.
Here's my take on that,
Hmm.
and I think the rest of the fighting game community feels this way. Is first of all, the name is trash. I don't understand it, but I think that,
I
I
thought
think
you were
this
about to back it up just now.
That's
I
crazy.
think this confirms that the game is going to be more than just League of Legends IPs. There's probably going to be Valorant people there too, and you know what I mean.
Ooh,
It's going to be more than it's going to be Riot's fighting game, not just League of Legends. We were walking into that thinking it's just going to be a League of Legends game,
that's a good take.
but I think this could be the Fortnite of fighting games. Like literally all sorts of crazy
Because it is
IPs
free to
all in
play.
one fighting game.
It is free to
Yeah.
play.
Because what's one fighting game out there, maybe other than Brawlhalla, that has all these different IPs just tossed in
That don't
like
excuse
Fortnite
naming it
does?
Project L for 2 years,
Hmm.
letting us marinate. At first, when they named it Project L, I was like, oh, Big L, and then I
Right.
looked at it. I looked at it and I was like, oh, this is actually pretty cool. And then the name kind of like grew on me. And like,
Yeah.
I struggled with this name for years to finally fall in love with it, and now you guys are gonna replace it with this
2XKO.
atrocity.
Right.
This atrocity.
Well, we've been
Nah.
through this before with Riot. I think when Valorant came out or was announced, people didn't have an official name. It was called like Project K or something like that.
But
And then it finally got its real name, which Valorant's a badass name, but 2KO, they went totally a different direction with
That's
that.
crazy.
what
But
I'm saying is, right, you would think the name would actually tie to. So that's why what you're saying, Jeremy, is actually not a bad idea. It might be that direction that they're going in. But if not, and it's just 2XKO, it doesn't make sense for the whole lore or the franchise in general, right? You would think they would find something that is more similar, like Dragon Ball Fighter Z. You would think that it would be something along the lines of that franchise, but we
I
don't have
think
that.
that's why they didn't go that direction because they don't want to limit it to only the League of Legends IP. They
Mhm.
want to open it up to all of Riot's. I mean, maybe Riot is going to come up with more games in the next few years. And they want to keep the door open for those too.
All right, Ahmed, what do
Yeah,
you
I would
think?
probably consider that.
It seems like they just wanted a really cool name with a few letters, and that's what they were able to put together. I don't know. I don't like it
Trash.
at all.
Mm.
I don't like it at all.
So listen, we need to
It
come
feel,
up with a name, and it's only 4 characters.
when you go to Start GG and you have to sign up for a game and they always have those abbreviations.
Hmm.
That's the abbreviation I would expect to be there, but it actually be a real title. You know?
That
Wow.
makes sense.
Hmm.
So
I don't know. And
uh,
they said
it's
it took a
weird.
lot of deliberation and all. I'm like,
You think they'll
nah, I'm
fold?
sorry.
You think they'll fold?
I hope they do. Go back to Project L. Shit.
That'd be crazy.
I think I really think it's going to be a Riot fighting game. We've been talking about the League of Legends fighting game, I know, but this is a Riot fighting game.
Mm.
Have we
We've
seen
got
any
I think
characters
we had the
outside of League?
not yet, but I think it's coming.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
mean,
even if it
remember
was just
this is live service, so it might be like what is it Blue, where they have the rotating characters.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
It's gonna be just like that, I think. So uh,
That's an interesting
time will
premise.
tell.
Whoa,
I
no,
bet you there
that's
will be
not
a
good. That's not
Valorant.
good.
Mm.
I
It's
bet you
supposed to
there
be
will be
free
a
to
Valorant
play.
character.
It is free to play.
So if
Well, it's gonna follow probably the League of Legends model anyway, which gives you like a certain season's worth of characters, and then you have to play those,
oh, this
and
is
you play,
changing everything.
yeah. I have a feeling it's gonna follow League's model that they've always done.
I was
Uh,
I'm not
I was really
familiar with the
hoping it's
model.
gonna be.
that is not confirmed, but they have said it's gonna be free to play, and this is what
I'm
Riot has
hoping it's
done with
all free to
all their
play.
games. So
Mm.
why wouldn't they do it with this?
Hmm.
And
That's true. You
It's
bring up a
really
very
good.
good point.
Yeah.
so
Go ahead, Heartless.
No, he brings up a very good point. I thought we were gonna get a free to play fighting game and like all the characters would come free and we'd all be able to. He's got a good point. They're gonna go the league model or the other models they use where you don't get the whole game for free really.
mhm.
Mm.
Yeah, that this is gonna be the future of the. This is gonna if this pops off, this is going to be the future of the industry. No more buying a 60, 70, $80 fighting game that has everything.
And then you're just gonna
That's
spend
not
your
gonna
money
happen.
on cosmetics like Fortnite.
Yeah. This is going to be the future. I think Capcom and Namco, they're watching this very, very, very closely. If this pops off the way they, were kind of expecting it to do, that model is going to be the future of all fighting games. Mark my words. You can
Mm.
quote me today. I don't know
That's
I don't
crazy.
know how you feel about I don't
You
know
guys
how you
getting
You
feel
that?
heard it
about
here
that, Aki,
first.
but
Quote
I
Jerem.
clipped that. I clipped it.
I don't know how
Uh,
you feel about that, Aki, but that's how I feel. The industry is heading, fighting games specifically, is headed in that direction.
Okay.
I definitely agree. I mean, it. We've seen like similar things happen with like platform fighters in multiverses and
Mm-hmm.
Nickelodeon All Star Brawl games like that. Like Nickelodeon, for example, as a platform fighter, they dropped two games,
Mm-hmm.
same price tag I think it was for both games, and they immediately like player base died right away. People are like, dude, why isn't this game free to play? It would do so much better. Like you could sell us more costumes for our characters and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. And then I, I agree. To say the least, I agree. It is going in the same direction, and
Yeah.
uh, I don't know. I would like to see more from the fighting games. I think Street Fighter 6 did a really good job too, with their whole model as far as onboarding a casual to a fighting game. They made it really fun and gave it a lot of variety too. So I'm imagining that this new Riot Fighter, it could be another like Street Fighter 6 scenario where it's going to onboard casuals to a new style of fighter,
Mm-hmm.
and then it has characters that are really likable. So that would be great.
Yeah.
I I'm gonna just also call my shot on this. I think in the future we're gonna call this the Fortnite of fighting games. Like literally, it's gonna have the same kind of thing. The game casual fan base. It's gonna have all those different events and IPs and skins and
I can see that.
dancing and all that stuff. It's gonna have. It's This is gonna be the Fortnite
I
of
can see
fighting
that.
games.
I can see that.
Hot take.
Yeah.
I'd like that.
That's not a hot take.
I'm open to it if it's
I,
done right.
if it's
I'm
done
open
right,
to it.
I'd like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I think fighting games is missing, but Tekken's not missing it?
Or
When you pull up to a Tekken match online, your character is a one of one.
oh, you can customize your character.
You can customize your character or like yeah. So I think other fighting games need that. Like when you go fight somebody in Street Fighter, you're gonna look at something that you've always seen before. There's nothing that identifies that person, no matter how professional they are, that
It's uniquely
identifies them
yours.
as uniquely yours.
Mm-hmm.
But so if you have a shop like that, at least then you'd be at a point where you'd have a lot of different skins for a lot of different characters.
Mm-hmm.
So you will run into stuff often that you'd be like, oh damn, I haven't seen that in a long time, or I've never seen anyone using that skin.
Hmm.
Stuff like that.
And make things rarity. Make things a
It,
rarity.
it,
Yeah.
it creates a
Yeah.
rarity.
Mm-hmm.
They did it in 5. There was like Mega Man Ryu and all these different ones. It just
Yeah.
would have been cool.
Okay.
To
Um.
watch. Yeah, watch
let-
it. Watch.
I don't want to get into the layoff conversation just yet. I'm gonna skip over that. What do you guys
Future
think
of
of?
Xbox?
No. What do you guys think about the old Epic hack situation? We were talking about it before we came live. All right, let's go.
Do you want to start us off with that, Aki, or I would love to hear your take.
Well, with the whole Epic situation, I was
Okay.
actually with that
I
I was
guess
actually learning about it recently.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know
let's
too
give a
much
little
about
bit
it.
of context to the audience a little bit. Yeah, so at Epic, reports are saying that they got hacked and credit information and login information and personal account information was leaked out by hackers.
Mhm.
And the reports have actually come out just recently, 6 to 7 hours ago, that actually was all cap. That it was fake reports, that the hackers lied about it, and it just didn't actually happen.
Big cap.
So, yeah. So at least that's what the reports are saying now. So, um, so it's hard to know exactly for sure what's going on, but as of right now, reports are saying that there actually wasn't a hack.
Yeah.
But this is a good topic to bring up to keep everyone safe.
What I'll
So
say is
wanna-
we're just gonna keep a close eye on it and see how it develops, and we can come back to it next week if possible.
I apologize for interrupting you, Hockey. My bad.
Oh, it's cool. It's cool. I actually appreciate that as well because, like, I did want a little bit more context on it because I have learned about it recently, and I think you make a good point because, in the aspect of like people's payment information and stuff like that, like it's good to bring up that security thing, and definitely kudos to you guys for caring about that because it is important.
Right.
What I would say is, you guys out there, all you gamers out there, protect yourself. Be sure you have two-factor authorization on all of your accounts if you have the ability to do so. If you can, do not store your card information on there. Maybe just have it be a one-time off. Don't opt to have it saved if that option exists. Just
Right.
do it manually if that's an option for you.
Mhm.
And another option is to buy physical forms of media. This will be less of a problem if you do that way.
I'm a big proponent of
Obviously,
that as well.
it won't be viable for live service, of course. You can't really do it with that.
I'm hearing
But,
more people talk about that nowadays.
Like buying
But-
physical copies.
Physical copies.
Yeah,
People are saying-
every day I get closer and closer to being more a part. Like I really believe that we need to start buying physical copies moving forward, like games, movies, any kind of media. You should be buying physical copies because these companies can remove these things at any point, and you don't have access to the
What
things
about
that
when
you
they stop
paid
making
for.
DVD players?
And Netflix is a good example. You have like a streaming thing,
Mhm.
and you have like a movie you love. They can still go in and delete scenes, alter scenes.
Yeah, they did it
do
recently.
stuff like that to change the experience. Disney Plus does this
All
all
the time.
Yeah,
Agreed.
they
The
censor
Super
all
Bowl.
their stuff.
The
Yeah.
Super Bowl edited Alicia Keys' first note. Shout out to Alicia Keys, but she had struggled in the first note of
Mhm.
the thing.
Yeah.
And by the time the track hit like the replay feature,
It
It
was
was
gone.
fixed.
Oh my God, you're
In the
lying.
official recording, it's fixed. It's a perfect note. It's like they fixed it immediately.
That is
Yeah,
nuts. I didn't
Disney
know
does
that.
this for all their
It's
streaming
erased
service.
from history.
Jeez.
I dare you to take any of the classic Disney movies, the VHSs, plug them in if you have a VHS player somewhere in your house,
Hmm.
watch it, and then watch it on Disney Plus. They won't be the same.
Not even the classics though. Even
So
Marvel movies. Like I remember people
yeah,
were ragging on the Thor. Not ragging about what was the last one? Love and Thunder. People were ragging on the CGI for Love and Thunder. By the time it got to Disney Plus, bro,
It was
it like
fixed.
for like 2 days, and then the third day, graphics were improved.
That's
mhm.
crazy.
So
Improved.
it's
See,
so
there's a plus
yeah.
side to it.
There's a
There's a plus.
plus.
Well, yes and
If
no,
you
but that
can,
there
buy your
is
physical media.
like there is something to say about like just having something with its flaws though.
Yeah,
There
personally,
is.
it's cool to have something nice
Right.
on your shelf to be
Hmm.
like a talking point.
There's
Right.
Even if how many times have we been in like a living room of someone's house and you don't know what to talk about? Then you look at their DVD collection, like, oh, you have Deadpool? Deadpool's hella cool. I love Deadpool.
Right.
You know?
Even
that's
Spider
I
Man.
feel
hilarious.
that way.
That's
Yeah,
Yeah,
hilarious.
you remember the first Spider Man?
yeah.
I don't know
You
if you
have the
guys.
Lord of the Rings extended edition? Oh yeah, that's 25. That's 24 hours of content.
No,
And I
I
bought
brought
it.
up the Spider Man for this specific reason. I don't know if you guys remember when Spider Man just got his powers, bro, and he was in the ring with Randy Savage.
Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
you remember when he was trying to grab Spider-Man and he jumped up and at the top of the cage and he said something to the effect of, "That's a nice outfit. Did your husband give it to you?" You cannot find that in any digital edition anymore. They removed that from the movie.
That's
They
crazy.
removed it from the
Wow, a
movie.
whole content cut
Uh,
because of the type of
And that's
yes.
such an
what?
iconic line
Yes. It was
too.
Because
so
it was.
Yeah.
funny. It was so
Yeah.
funny. But you can't find it anymore. It's gone.
That's definitely something Spider-Man would say too. That's
Exactly.
Spider-Man
hilarious.
Because
went
he's a
woke.
quip. He's a quipper.
Yeah.
He went woke.
He went,
Yeah.
Spider-Man was like, I'm a hero, but now I'm an ally.
Even Spider-Man
wow.
can't escape the
No, but it's just like,
censors.
but this is what I'm talking about though. It's like anything they deem unnecessary, they could just go in and just change it. And
Yeah,
you
see.
as the
So
consumer have nothing to say about it. It's
it,
Let's
just how
well,
it
talk
they,
is.
pros and
first of all, they
cons,
don't
though.
even tell you. They don't even tell you.
They don't.
Unless if you know to
Mhm.
look for it, you won't even notice it,
You
and
won't even
that's what
notice.
sucks.
It
Yeah.
is their media, though. But let's talk pros and cons,
Hmm.
okay?
Right.
Digital version, you don't have to worry about it breaking. You don't have to worry about your house burning down and you losing it. You don't have to worry about it getting damaged and not working anymore.
Hmm.
You don't have to worry about traveling with it, storing it. Those are the pros. The
Right.
cons, you
Don't really own it.
if they decide to alter or remove it, it's gone,
Hmm.
and there's nothing you can do about it. Is there any
An-
other cons that I'm missing?
There's
yes.
there's
What?
one con you're missing, Heartless, is games that are on physical media. There's more incentive for developers to give solo content because, case if you don't have an online connection, still got to play the game, right? So,
Right.
but if a game is only download, they may or may not necessarily have to give you those features
Yeah.
because it's only online.
Ahmed
How
had
about
another
So,
hockey?
one. Yeah. Ahmed had
yeah,
another point. What was that?
And like another con I'd say is like depending on the kind of gamer you are and like the kind of attachment you have to it in any way,
Hmm.
losing that emotional like attachment from the experience from owning the physical like that's something I think about often, especially like having my sons.
Hmm.
Like they play on a digital Xbox Series S.
Right.
And I remember talking to my parents about it. I'm like, man, I remember when you guys would get me, games and you'd wrap it up and put it under the tree. And
Wow.
I knew it was a game because I saw the shape and I'm like, oh, that has to be it.
Right.
And with my son, it's like I kind of get him a game and it's just downloading.
Hmm.
Like he doesn't get
yeah,
to experience that
That
unwrapping of a game,
exactly.
taking off the plastic
Hmm.
and ripping the seal to get it open. And like he,
you,
he
you
doesn't,
know,
he's never got to do that.
Right.
I miss the days of getting a game, opening it up, and then reading the lore of the game and reading about the
You don't
characters.
even get
You
that
already
Yes,
anymore.
know
yes.
You don't even
you
get that
already
anymore.
know a lot about the game before you even booted it up for the
Right.
first time. And I miss that
Not
experience,
only that, I remember getting Witcher 3 too, and you get that big map, bro, that giant map. And you can just like
Skyrim. You don't remember Skyrim?
Skyrim,
Yeah,
Red
yeah.
Dead Redemption. I got a giant map in the first Red Dead Redemption, bro, and I was playing the game and I had that shit open, playing. I didn't even want to open the map in game. I just had the map here. So I'm right here, and I'm like, I need to go over here. It just felt
See,
authentic. It just felt.
shout out to Nintendo again. Nintendo's got the right idea by kind of having their games be these little tiny things that I could lug around 60 of them and it not take up a lot of room in my backpack. You know,
Yep.
shout out to them. You know,
So okay, before we continue,
Mhm.
Cube said you forget your password and it's all gone. That's a huge con. And Aki also had another con. Let's not forget that. And then let's give these away.
You want to give those away?
For real?
I don't want them. Yeah, I don't want them to.
Uh,
I don't have a PlayStation 4 anymore, and I got 2 physical copies of games. We're talking about physical copies.
All right.
Let's find a creative way to get these given away.
All right. Cool.
Okay, all right. All three at once or three separate?
I only have 2 games here.
We could do all
Okay.
two. We could
That's
give both
awesome.
of them at once.
Let's go.
We got other
Let's
stuff
go.
I could give away too, because I'm pretty
And
sure I have a
and
bunch of stuff. I
and-
got gadgets that I don't use anymore that I can give away.
TBFZ and an Injustice 2.
Yeah,
Mm.
I got some stuff I could give away. You know, I got some stuff.
Speaking of Fallout, did you guys see the new trailer for that Fallout TV show? What are your thoughts? Is anybody a
Oh yeah,
Fallout
it
fan?
looked good. Yeah, from a visual perspective, it looks really good. But so did the Halo show.
We got
so
to
I
hear
was
Aki's
interested.
comment.
Halo
He
is
said-
great.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, okay.
I need to
Okay.
watch it.
I won't tread there.
I watched the
I-
first
that
season.
shows-
I watched the first season. I went out to the second one. I heard the second season's actually pretty good. It's
Second
much better.
season is way better than the first season.
Really?
Way better. It's a whole new show.
Oh
It's
wow!
Okay.
a whole new show.
That's crazy.
All right, I'm definitely
Okay.
checking it out. Not that we weren't going to, because my wife and I watched it together.
Did they get bullied into making a good show? Is that
Probably.
what happened?
The
That's
haters came
crazy.
out hard in the first season.
I didn't think the show was
bullied.
that bad though. But the thing is, I'm not a super Master Chief fan, so it's not like I was big on the Halo lore. But I enjoyed
Don't
the first
kill me,
season.
don't kill me, Aki. But I have never. My hands have never even touched an Xbox controller, probably in 10+ years.
Oh,
what?
man. Wow.
I have not been in the same room as an Xbox.
Jeez.
In probably a long time.
That's
You know?
crazy.
Wow, bro.
Like I have my PlayStation
respect
5
it.
there, and it's the digital version. Please don't come for me in the comments. It's the digital one. It was cheaper, okay?
Yeah.
But the
Nah, bro. I'm slowly going back to like hard copies. I told you guys, I'm not.
Yeah.
Don't you have a stack of them right next to you?
Who me?
Yeah.
Oh, I got a shit ton of games for PS3 because I started a new series on my channel where I'm kind of doing like retro reviews of games. Shout outs to Bello Legends. He's the one who hooked me up with all of these games.
Shout out to Bello.
They're not really mine.
I'm personally more
But,
of
like,
a board gamer.
I don't know if you
Board
guys
gamer
can see
is the
this,
same.
but this is one stack, and this is a whole other stack right here.
You got
There
Kingdom
you
Hearts
go.
there?
Yes, Kingdom Hearts is there. Kingdom Hearts 1.5, 2.5.
There's so how many games in the series they
I
got
think,
now?
I think
First of
three.
all, Kingdom Hearts. What the hell is wrong with your numbering system? Why can't it just be 1, 2, 3, 4, or whatever?
Bro, forget about that. they got multiple characters in the game with the same name. This is like why?
Yeah,
Why?
Castlevania. I got all the God of War series. I got Ashura's Wrath, No More Heroes, Heavenly Sword, Folklore, Metal. I got all the Metal Gears, Killzone, all the Killzone games.
Yes, a lot. Some
Man
of these
loves
games
his
you're
physicals.
mentioning are antiques.
Yeah,
Those are antiques
That's
at this
Bello
point.
Legends, bro. That's Bello Legends.
What, he's like 60 years
Heaven-
old.
Alien-
Heavenly Sword.
Do you got
a
an Atari
PlayStation-
with Tetris from
That was
him?
a. I
Yes,
think
I
Heavenly
did.
Sword. Correct me if I'm wrong. That was a PlayStation 3 launch title.
Yes,
right?
it
That's
was.
Like
And this man
probably
still.
20
You
years
want to
old.
see it? It looks like brand new. The game looks
Dang.
brand new. This man takes care of his shit, bro.
That's what's up.
Shout
Bella,
out
did
to
you have
Bello
an
Legends.
Atari as
Shout
a
out to
kid?
Bello Legends.
I'm pretty sure he did. Who knows? He probably
He
still has
must
that
have
shit
had
at
an
his house.
Atari.
Have you ever
Uh,
played the Metal Gear collection?
I've never
Oh.
played it. No.
I love Metal Gear is one of my
Oh,
all-time
man.
favorite series.
Yeah.
It is one of my
man.
all-times.
Yo,
Love
I
Metal
even
Gear.
have Afro Samurai. This man even have Afro Samurai here and Ninja Gaiden 1, 2, and
That's
3.
a classic.
Bro, Afro Samurai was a
classic.
shit too, bro. Listen.
Bello, if you have any Soul Calibur physical copies, let me know because Soul Calibur, I think it sold with Soul Calibur 4 or 5 when it had the Darth Vader pack. That was
Oh,
one
that
of
was
the
nuts.
coolest. Like,
That was
one of the
nuts.
coolest special
And
editions.
the Yoda, they had Yoda too.
Yeah, for
The
Xbox.
Link.
They had Link. They had friggin' The Witcher.
Spawn.
They had Spawn. Yeah, they had so many people, bro. So many.
Soul Calibur needs more love.
Yeah, they need to.
We're
Bring it
starting a
back.
petition. We're starting a petition. We're bringing Soul Calibur back. Listen, this is what we're doing around here.
Yeah.
We're bringing arcades back. We're bringing arcades back. We're bringing Soul Calibur back. That's the
We're gonna
Facts.
mission of
make
this
fighting
podcast.
games popular, and we're gonna make Soul Calibur popular. That's what we do.
Mhm.
Facts.
And and
It
you know,
has to happen.
we're gonna see
Say again,
if
Naki?
Project L becomes the Fortnite of fighting games.
Hmm.
It has to happen. Soul
Mark my
Calibur has to come back.
Yeah, for
Yes.
sure.
hell yeah, that's my favorite series. Why? There's a poster right here on my wall.
Yeah.
Legit.
Damn, bro.
Yeah, it's got all
Uh,
the characters on it.
All right. So back to like no, a more somber note. This whole layoff situation. I wanted to hear your guys' take on this entire thing. Jerm actually started. He made a very interesting point, but I want to hear what Heartless has to say about this. What do you think?
I think that business is business, and everything's about dollars, supply and demand. I personally think that digital products were going through the roof during COVID. Like anything that had to do with hobbies,
Mm-hmm.
collectibles, video games, building PCs,
Mm-hmm.
learning software, stuff like that. I think really drove the demand for software and hardware. And then I think that you make $300 million games like Spider-Man, your margins run thin, and companies all around are not making as much money as they were, and they got
Well,
to find
let's
out ways to reserve.
let's add a little context for the viewers, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
So, just this year, PlayStation just recently announced they're laying off 900 people
Mm-hmm.
in their workforce, which is roughly is coming out to about 8% of their workforce.
Mm-hmm.
They just also announced that they're closing down their London studio.
Mm-hmm.
And overall, this year in 2023, we kind of touched on it earlier. There's been almost 8,000 layoffs in the gaming industry.
Mm-hmm.
Um, uh, estimating about 12% of the total workforce,
No,
according to the article.
and compared to last year, that's like
Yeah.
a high
So,
number within just like the space of 2 months.
so yeah, to companies like EA just announced that layoffs,
Mm-hmm.
and there's also been several closures. That Microsoft has come out and saying they're potentially closing. They're going to cancel a bunch of games.
Mm-hmm.
So just shows you the state of the industry right now. So
Also, recently, Toys for Bob, they are actually
yeah.
left from under the Activision umbrella. They went independent, but they're still looking to work with Microsoft to some degree. Ahmed, I don't know if you know
That's
They
crazy.
about
made
that.
Skylanders.
Yeah, they
Skylanders,
made the
right?
Spiral
Yeah.
and the Crash
They left
series.
one company but want to work with the parent company.
Yeah. But I feel like it's more of like a partnership as opposed to like an outright ownership because Xbox works well with it when it comes to indie games. They work well with indie studios. So I think that's
That's
a
like
good idea.
it's like cutting off your weed dealer and going straight to the source.
Seriously.
Yeah, that's
Seriously.
crazy.
Ahmed, any thoughts
So
about that?
It's interesting because it's like, with them having like Activision and stuff,
Right.
it puts them in an interesting place to where they can possibly still reap the benefits of what they choose to produce now going forward, and
Mm-hmm.
maybe at a different price, to say the least.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
mhm.
because I think Toys for Bob is actually a good studio, bro. Like, I don't think they've
Okay.
ever made a dud recently. Any of their games that they
So
recently made were pretty good.
okay, so I have the breakdown right here. So far, just this year of
Mm-hmm.
fighting game layoffs. So Unity Software, which Unity is one of the companies that does a lot of your mobile games. They do
Mm-hmm.
the games the
Isn't Unity the software
Engine.
they make games
They
off
They
of
make
do
they
too?
they do the
engine.
engine that a
Yeah.
lot of those games are made off of.
Yeah.
They have laid off 1,800 workers. Twitch laid off 500.
500. Yeah.
Twitch not
Tinka, I'm
making
not
money though.
familiar with them.
Mm-hmm.
They laid off 300 to 400. Riot itself laid off 530. Microsoft 1,900 layoffs.
Wow.
EOS Montreal 97. Sega 61. And then reported February, Sony laid off 900
Pulling out my
and
calculator.
EA 670.
Jeez.
So that's a pretty chunky amount of the workforce. There's a couple of companies I want to say that are not on here that I just want to shout out. I don't see Nintendo on here, and I don't see Capcom on here. So I don't know if that maybe it's just a little early in the year, but yeah, I'm just surprised they're not on here, to be honest. But it
Mm-hmm.
just shows you maybe those companies might be a little healthier, but at least it's only speculation.
Not
I
only
did
But
some
that,
math.
in
I did
regards
some
to
math.
in regards to PlayStation as well, like most of their major studios is impacted by that 900 people layoff. Just to point
But
out, Gorilla.
there's
Hmm.
one comment I wanted to highlight here, and I want the chat to sound off on this. Is okay, so Sony, based on their layoffs, so Sony's president made a statement, and the statement goes as said. The Sony's president thinks the problem is unaccountable developers who are bad with money, you see, and they don't stick to a schedule.
Who said that?
What? The Sony's president. What a bold, bold
That's a
statement.
very
Wow.
bold statement.
Wow.
And I want the pop to, I mean, maybe that's true, maybe it's not, but I am gonna just call out the Sony president on that statement right there alone. Is that is not the developer itself mismanaging money. That is whoever it is that's the boss of these developers not managing their staff properly. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like, because if you are doing your job as a boss, you are making sure that costs are under control. Anyone who's worked in a restaurant,
I
Heartless,
think
you
there's
know
a
this.
disconnect as well.
Hmm.
And I get that, but I think there's a disconnect. I think big companies, the publishers, tell these groups of developers, I need it by X, Y, and Z. And I think these groups of developers, they're like overworked and they're trying to figure out
I'm putting
how
just
are we
for the
gonna make this
chat, I'm
happen?
putting the link here so that they can read it as well. Sony makes some unbelievably harsh statements, in my opinion,
Mm.
regarding the industry. And granted, yeah, they're the big boys in the industry, they're the big bosses. But what a horrible view of your working class people, in
Right.
my opinion. Who would want to work with Sony at this point if you're gonna say that, you're wasting all our money,
It's
you're
almost as if they're not
lazy.
taking accountability.
They're
Yeah,
not.
Yeah.
Sony is the one that should be taking the accountability here because they are not
Mm.
forcing deadlines on these people. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I really think that's a disgusting take by the Sony president. I'm
That's not
really
good
upset
leadership, I'll
about
tell
it.
you that. If
Hmm.
Yeah,
I'm at the
I
top of a
really don't like
company,
it. I really
I'm at the
don't like
top
it.
of a very small company, and I
Yeah,
won't talk to the very few of my employees like that.
never.
I would
Hell
never.
no. Like,
I don't know.
and I worked in restaurants for years and years and years, and you do too, Heartless, right? So
Hmm.
managing your costs is everything. Managing your food costs, your labor costs,
Right.
managing all these things is vital to the success of your business.
Hmm.
And, if you aren't doing that, you're not going to survive. You won't survive more than a few months, if you're in a restaurant, if
Right.
you're not managing your costs. So, like,
Right.
the game industry is not immune to this as well. So I would just say the leadership at the top, they need to take a sharp look at themselves and being like, why are we punishing the working force um, for our inability to lead?
Right.
That's all I'm gonna say.
All
That's
right.
all really I'm gonna say
So
about
with
that.
that
You
being
know?
said, what do you guys think is kind of like leading to this whole like this wave of layoffs over the past 2 months? Like, what do you
Does
think it
Aki
is?
got a take on this?
Yeah, I was about to ask Aki.
Yeah, I think it goes back. So I believe it was mentioned earlier with like, when COVID happened, a lot of people realized, okay, digital can work in this industry,
Hmm.
and it can be profitable to some degree. But with that, I think comes that conversation at the higher level where it's like, okay, well, is there room for us to make more? And if so, how can we do that? And if it comes down to letting people go, the business is going to be business.
Right.
Um, it is unfortunate, and personally, from seeing it, it's been hard to read because I have personally wanted to move into the gaming industry, particularly with Xbox.
Hmm.
I had worked with Microsoft before as like a trainer,
Mm.
I was like a heavy advocate for like Minecraft education. I mean, personally, I think Minecraft should be in every classroom, but that's besides the point. That's just
Oh.
a personal interest. Um, but just wanting to grow with the company and wanting to just be part of the gaming industry as a whole, and then seeing how it almost appears like it's all tumbling down. It's like, man, is how much harder is it going to be to move into the industry? And it gives you different things to think about, from a career standpoint at least. So I could only imagine the people that are in there now.
Right.
It's like, man, it's like, wow, I don't have my job anymore, where do I go from here? It is sensitive and it's very unfortunate. and I hope it recovers sooner than later, and this isn't like the strategy going forward.
Right. Heartless actually brought up a very interesting point, I think, last week in last week's show with the same aspect, which was all these people that are getting laid off potentially might have to look into another area for jobs. They might have to leave the industry, which is because now they're still in the same pool competing for like similar jobs. Remember that conversation, Heartless?
Yeah.
Um, I'm very sorry. I was looking at the chat and Jerm said, "Please drop Aki social in the chat," and I was about to type, "I don't got that shit."
Cash, if you can,
I shout
please
out
drop.
Aki.
Or Baki, if you can, please drop your socials in the chat because
Yeah, we can
what
show
you
you.
just said to me, what you just said just now about trying to get like video games and Minecraft and get creativity in the classroom, I'm so behind. I am going to school to get into the game industry, and this is why I'm also trying to get into the industry, is trying to remove the stigma that gaming is not just for nerds and people like that. It's for everyone. And so please, if you can, we want to support you in
Gaming,
your dream.
gaming,
Uh,
100% increases cognitive ability in
It
kids.
does.
If
It definitely does.
oh
one,
yeah.
you're not gonna tell me it doesn't.
We were
It,
talking about it earlier. Just the social aspects of gaming alone
Mm-hmm.
is good for people. Think
except
about what
for
we just went
the
through.
toxicity. Some chat rooms you don't want your kids in, but
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Um,
um,
but
uh,
oh,
perfect.
sorry. Who was making their point? I just wanted to do that
I
before
actually
we
want to
moved
hear
on.
what Cash had to say. He said that last
Yeah.
week I brought up a great point, and I actually want to have my head wrapped around what he was saying. So
So
please, if you
you're
don't mind.
so with these mass wave of layoffs, like a lot of people potentially might have to leave the industry and go into
Yeah,
other areas to find new jobs because it seems as if it's like a shrinking pool now, right? Because no, I
yeah.
don't think anybody's gonna really they're really hiring within the gaming space. It's more of like bloodletting, so to speak. They're like letting go a bunch of people. Somebody also pointed out like last week that this is also not the end of it. We're gonna see more happen over time. So I think
To
that's where we're heading.
expand,
Yeah. Hmm?
to expand on what you're saying, Cash, is I feel a lot of things that used to require manpower are done via AI and doing like computing power now. So
I didn't
there's
even think of
probably a
that.
lot of jobs that may or may not need a person to do it anymore. So that also may be where we're going as well. I hope that's not the case because I'm kind of strongly against that. I think every form of art needs that human element, that
Oh,
human
for sure.
touch to really
So
make it
that could be
I
a
succeed.
agree.
whole other conversation in that
Yeah, that's
regard
a
as
whole nother
well.
topic for a whole nother day. But I just wanted to throw that out
Good
there to get
topic.
the
Good
chat
topics to
thinking, to
have.
get people thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
But also have some statistics, statistics that I wanted to throw out specifically about Sony.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
So Sony over the last 3 years, 4 years, has seen a decline in their overall profits on hardware. So their profit margin, what that means, chat viewers, is the amount that you take home profit after everything is settled, all your costs and all that stuff. So in 2020, their take home was 12.6%. It went up in 2021 to 12.9%. But here's the kicker. In 2022, it dropped to 6.9% profit margin, and now in 2023, it was 5.8% profit margin. That's huge. That's almost half
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
the profit that they've lost now.
Um,
What accounts for that?
we talked
If you
about this
ask me,
before. It's
if you
it's
ask
act.
me, it's a lot of people have PlayStations now, and there isn't a reason to buy them.
Mm-hmm.
Plus people are buying PCs now. There isn't any reason to buy hardware really anymore because who needs it? You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like probably most people probably already have it.
Right.
So I think that industry is running dry, if you ask me. So but here's the real thing. Sony, according to the article that I posted it in the chat earlier, guys, it said Sony sold its hardware at a loss when they initially launched it, hoping to catch that profit on the back end with software sales. And apparently that hasn't worked out too well for
I
them.
feel like most
So,
companies do that though.
Cell phone
which
companies
you
do
would,
that.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, would you think would be the opposite for Sony because they have so many exclusives? You think that would have been the opposite?
But I've
Maybe,
heard, yeah, but I've
but
heard
I don't
Sony on
know.
record say their exclusives don't move console sales. based on what I've
Yeah.
said, especially when it came
I,
to the whole discussion during those hearings with versus Xbox. But that's one of the
Here's another
things they were talking about.
here's another kicker towards the Sony president, which, screw that guy. He's not doing good right now in my eyes. He closed the London studio
Hmm.
for PlayStation, and he visited it
Oh, you're talking
five
about
days prior.
Jim
He
Ryan?
visit yeah. Pete David
yeah,
Pete something. He visited it
Hades, man,
5 days
Pete Parsons.
prior. The talk with he met with the staff 5 days prior and then closed the studio 5 days later.
5 days later, bro.
What a
That
cold human being that
that
guy
he's
must
cold.
be.
It is Jim
He's
Ryan.
he's
It's
Yeah.
Jim Ryan. It's Jim Ryan.
Um,
he's a cold businessman. Which I hate to say
but
this, some of the most successful businessmen
Not cold.
are
yeah,
cold
you have to
businessmen.
be. You have to be a killer to make it in
I have a
business.
worry though.
What's that?
If you compare that statement about taking a loss on hardware sales, if
Hmm.
you compare that to the cell phone industry and the model that the cell phone industry has taken, do you, there is there a chance that video game hardware can go this way? And hear me out. Let me break this down for you. Back in the day, you would buy a phone. It would be like $400 every few years. You get an upgrade, and then you can get money off a new phone.
Hmm.
And you buy the phone, and you bought it outright. If you wanted like a really fancy phone, I think you pay like $200, and that you get like a $200 credit. So you'd only end up paying $200. And the company that manufactures the phone, I believe, no, I think the provider buys that phone and then they sell to you at a loss to get your subscription in terms of
Yeah.
the monthly phone bill, right? Now the phone is a part of your phone bill,
Right.
Yeah. You pay
and
for it until it's paid off. You
you
pay it
pay
in
for it till it's paid
payments,
off.
essentially. Yeah.
Payments. And how do you guys feel if consoles went this direction?
What do you think, Augie? Like, let's get your take on that. Do you think that that would be a good model for hardware in gaming? I personally, before you say, I just want to say, I think hardware in gaming,
Hmm.
fast forward 8 years, is going to be the way of the dodo. We aren't going to be doing that kind of stuff. We're going to have one machine that's going to run all our stuff. It could be a PC, who knows what it'll be, but
More
it's
than
going to be
likely.
one machine that runs everything.
More than likely, it's gonna
And
be a PC.
but go ahead, Aki. I'm curious your take.
I'm actually with you on that as well. I believed, and that's kind of where I feel now with Xbox. I think if anyone can do something like that, it would be Microsoft and Xbox,
Hmm.
with them taking like a modular route, and making that all in one console that's built to last longer than the traditional console lifespan.
Right.
At that point, it's like, okay, well, I don't need to buy a new console. I can just upgrade my parts like that. That would be amazing. And I think they can do it. From what I read, I had heard that like the Surface team was going to be working on the next Xbox as well. I'm not exact. Yeah, that's not confirmed. But I did read that, and if that's the case, that's also again another team, which would be the perfect team to work on that. They already know how to, you know, make portable devices
Right.
that come in different power, etc. So it's like if they took that team and you put them with the Xbox team, and you're developing this incredible console, it could be something that's built to last for a long time, and it can come at different price points based on the piece, the variation, to say the least, that you're getting.
Hmm.
Um, and why can't others do that as well? What's stopping like Valve from wanting to do something like that? What's stopping Sony and PlayStation from wanting to do something like that? And to that point, if the price of those types of consoles, or PCs, if you want to call them, at that point are really high, having a structure where you can pay off the device may be worth it, right? Because if you're getting something that's upgradable,
Right.
Yep.
similar to a phone,
Hmm.
right?
Yep.
Look how many people are open to paying off their phones over time, even if it means getting a higher bill. But it's part of their lifestyle. It's part of their like home ecosystem. It works. So if people are gonna pay a lot for a console or PC at that when it gets to that time for something that they can just enhance over time, I think it ends up being something that could be worth it. Um, so I wouldn't be surprised. I think the model could work, and I think it goes hand in hand, to where Jerm was saying with like just having a console that could be upgradable, it could be interchangeable over time. It would be pretty awesome.
Mm.
I would
That would
like
be
to see
amazing.
the industry go the direction kind of Netflix has gone, where I could literally stream Netflix on any device that I have
I feel like
I have
Xbox is
available.
kind of trying to get in that
They're
direction.
And
working their way.
yeah,
There's
and I
hardware
just pay,
limitations though.
yeah,
Hmm.
but still, I have access to it. I may, and I may have a reduced quality experience, but I have access to it.
Yeah.
And um, it would be great to see gaming go that direction. Essentially, it would be cloud gaming, which
Hmm.
is cool.
Are they
But
dropping XCloud this year?
um,
That's why
yeah.
Steam is lit. That's why
And
Steam is
another
lit.
example to kind of enhance the points you two made is I think if you look at the phone industry, which is a perfect example, the auto industry is an even better, probably an even better example. Is I buy a car and I drive that thing for the next 25 years if I take care of it.
Hmm.
So, and I can upgrade it and I can make it relevant for as long as I want.
So touch on that
So,
point,
Great
Jerem.
point.
To touch on that point as well with the same upgrading thing. Xbox already has a system like that with the console. I don't remember what it's called, but when they first announced the series of consoles, they had this like payment plan thing. Or probably it was Xbox One, but they had this like payment plan thing that you could essentially get like a credit line to get this game, and then you can eventually like upgrade over time. I don't remember what it's called, but I have to look it up. But they already have things like that in place. So now imagine
That's
now
crazy.
them going to the whole like PC route or whatever, because they're kind of already in the PC ecosystem. They're there.
mhm.
So
They're there.
yeah. So
I got one
Cash,
thing.
Heartless.
mhm.
Go ahead, Art. Go ahead. I'll get in my
I got
point
one
now.
thing.
Mhm.
When PC gamers discover console,
Mhm.
they still PC game. When console gamers discover PCs, it's very to me like why would you go back? I'm not going back. Like I can't see myself going back.
Because
Like
you.
I have a
I would
Switch.
Mhm.
I would only go back for a portable type, like Nintendo situation. But
I
that's
have a
the
Switch.
only that's the line I draw.
Mhm.
So um so to kind of put the question out there, guys, is okay, so we've been talking about this.
Mhm.
What is the solution to this problem? Obviously, video games aren't making enough money to have the industry healthy. So what's the solution for this? I have an idea, but I want to hear your guys' takes first
I
So
want to
and
hear
see
Aki first. I'll go last.
all right.
what you guys think. What would be a potential road to recovery and financial stability for video games as a whole?
I would let
Go
Aki go first.
Yeah.
go ahead, Augie.
I'd say, uh, honestly, to start, I think the price of games need to be cut, and whoever decides to do that, possibly with the release of their next console, could see themselves winning the quote unquote console war or hardware sales to say the least. I think if they make the games more affordable, um, I understand there's development costs and stuff like that, but when you look at some of the games that have been indies or free to plays, they're dropping at cheap prices and they're doing so well. And people are, supporting them games even more, getting the microtransactions that come with those games and stuff. So I
Mm.
just feel like cutting the price of the games is a great place to
Are you
start.
saying the production cost? Or are you talking just
The
the
sales
when we
price.
buy them?
Yeah,
When
like
we
from a
buy them?
consumer standpoint, like
Mm.
Okay.
it should be cheaper to buy the games.
So people would buy more games if they were
Look at
cheaper,
Power.
you're saying?
Look at Power.
Yeah, yeah, and I
Okay.
think people would be more
Look at
open.
Helldivers.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
people would be more open to also trying the games
So,
as well.
taking away you're saying, essentially taking the same idea Sony took with the hardware, we're going to take with the game this time. So, we're going to take a loss up front, but we're going to try to sell more of it to make up the difference.
Why not?
That's a gamble for sure. Because if it
Look at
doesn't pay,
Fortnite did it.
but it could work.
Look what it did for
We're not
Fortnite.
making money now, so it seems like you got to do something.
Right.
So,
But these are the kind of companies that can afford to do that.
Yeah. Take the hit
well,
up front.
apparently they can't. That's what we were just discussing. So,
I think they can, but
uh,
what happened was I feel like they just went
They don't
overboard. They went over budget when it came to like game
they don't
development.
they're not laying people off because they're losing their shirts. They're laying people off so they can remain comfortable.
Mm.
yeah,
That's an interesting take.
well, by the way, chat. Well, I posed a question to the four of us here, but if you guys have also want to chime in, like Heartless said here in the chat, there is the voice call in our Discord. You guys can check it out, drop in, give your take as well, because we
It's called
also
the
want to
waiting
hear
room.
your guys'
Yeah, hop in the
opinions. Yeah,
waiting
the
room.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. So yeah,
I,
Um,
I my idea is, I think games should go free. I think games should go free. If everybody wants to talk about this live service model, everybody wants to hop on this live service model, give us a damn game for free. Even yeah, and
pull
you
up
guys are
straight free.
straight free. Like
Even
and
if
they're
I
not
buy,
even
even if
giving,
I buy a physical copy, free.
bro. They sold us Mortal Kombat for $70. I didn't buy it, and it wasn't complete. If you're not going to give us a complete game anyways, just give us a damn game for free. Let us put money in your pocket so you can finish making the damn game.
yeah.
Okay,
I feel
fair
like
enough.
Mortal Kombat has left like a sour taste in the
Isn't
mouth of
amazing?
fans.
Isn't it amazing how this podcast always circles around to trashing on WB? Let's just say. I just want to say
Hey,
Listen,
that.
didn't they sell like a $15 animation?
$15 fatality.
Yeah,
Yeah, a
I got another
$15.
idea.
You did, all they do is put a pumpkin on your head.
I got another
That's all
idea.
they do. What the hell?
Digital copies of games should not be the same price as physical copies of games.
No,
That's
but the
another
thing is,
idea.
they're gonna sell it more. So digital copies of games, for some
I
reason, are
think
always
what you're
end up
saying,
always
Heartless,
more
would
expensive.
kill physical media 100%. If it
Digital
went
ends
that
up
way.
more expensive
Yeah, digital
No,
is usually more expensive.
to
no,
produce
if
or
it
for us
No,
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 selling.
to sell
if
because it does
if
the
they did
That
that,
shouldn't be
physical
right.
media would
That's
die
not right.
it
completely.
doesn't drop
It
in
would die
value.
100%.
It does drop in value.
Yeah.
Digital media, unless it goes on sale, it doesn't drop in value.
I mean that's
But
great, but you're not
physical
getting the
copies,
physical thing.
no, but
It costs
physical
less to produce.
it causes more to produce because now they have to think about distributing. They have to think about making a
Physical
disc.
copies
Yeah,
cost
yeah,
more.
yeah, yeah.
So that's why you should pay more for the physical.
But
You
after a
should
while,
pay
it loses.
less.
No, I agree with what you're saying. But I'm saying after over time, physical copies they
I'm
lose
not gonna
value.
let a company bully me into believing that. No,
They lose value
no.
over time though
That's
because
great. I understand that.
the technology is moving
That's
forward.
great, but at least I get a physical copy.
Yeah.
It's like at least I get something physical. No matter what you buy physically, unless you put it in like a humidity locked box away from the environment, it's going to
Right.
the elements are gonna get to it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like I
Well,
should.
we were talking about it earlier. A company could decide like, this game's no profit. It's not profitable for us to have on our server anymore. Goodbye.
Not
You
only
know, they could decide to do that
here's
anytime.
my idea. I had this idea
So
earlier too about this. Right? They could essentially because DVD used to do it at one point. Blu-rays. You could buy the Blu-ray and you get a digital copy of the movie. I could.
I
or
mean that's cool.
what could even be worse
Mm-hmm.
is you have a digital copy,
Mm-hmm.
and then the company decides, oh, now we're gonna charge you to have the cloud service to have it on there, and
Now
now
that's
I'm
wild.
having to pay more just to have that cloud
So
service.
if
You know,
if
they could.
they
A company could decide to do that at any time. You know, and
if they charge
that's what's
less
alarming.
if they charge less for the digital copy, more players would buy it. The likelihood of the game dying due to player base and them not making money and their servers just being up for nothing, that decreases. If they have more players on the game, if they're selling you a game digitally for 70, I think Helldivers is successful partly because it's only $50.
40.
No, what I'm saying,
$40.
It's
Heartless, is if I
$40.
have a
Yeah.
game and I only have so much hard drive space, obviously I
Yeah,
put it up to the cloud so I can download it later.
yeah.
A company could decide that that little bit of space for me to store my games on the cloud, they could decide I have to start paying $90 for that amount. They could do that. And if I don't pay, I lose my
I mean,
games.
Apple does
You know
it
what I'm
right
saying?
now.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, consumers, as stupid as they are not that stupid. So what happens is whether they know it or not, they look at the value that the company presents them
Mm-hmm.
and they compare it to the money that they're spending. And they say, okay, I'm spending $70. Okay, now in the future, you want to charge me $20 a month on top of the service that I got to pay to play online. And now the games are $80. The consumer's going to look at that and be like, no, we're not falling for that. We're going to bully you with our pockets. We'll stop spending. You're going to end up laying off your employees like you're doing now. And you're going to be forced to take a look in the mirror and figure out how is it that we get our consumers back.
I like
Right.
where you're going with that. Power is ultimately in our hands.
The
as
power
a
is
consumer.
ultimately in our hands.
What we're going to
These companies are
allow
laying off people.
companies
Why
to
are they
do to
laying
us.
off people? You think they're laying off people because we told them to? No, they're laying off people because we told them to, with our wallets.
Shout out to the audience. You
Hmm?
guys have the power to make this change. as consumers, ultimately have the power to stop this.
They bullied the
Just throw
studios
that out.
into fixing Sonic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you're
Think
right.
about Sonic. Sonic is the perfect example. We
That
got
was
that
crazy.
really,
Right?
yeah, you know.
In less than 24 hours, they're like, no, 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 we fixed
Do
this. He
you
looks
do
exactly
you
like
have a
Sonic in the video
take?
games.
Right.
Do you have a do you have a take, Cash, or
On what?
Aki,
The
let's see
whole,
what Aki got
uh
to say.
yeah.
the how to make games profitable again?
I never gave it
Um,
much thought.
besides, outside of like cutting the price of the games, I mean, I think what's happening now, right, with games going over to the other platform, there was a
Hmm.
lot of outcry over it, and I understand why a lot of people may not like the idea of third-party games and things like that, but you know, I like it. Like, and I personally want more games to go over, even though a
Hmm.
lot of the core communities are saying, there should
They
be
shouldn't.
less. Like,
Hmm.
you look at games like Helldivers, and it's like that game is fun, dude. It's $40. It's affordable. It's fun. It has
It's
cool
accessible,
lore and mechanics. It's accessible.
very
Like,
accessible.
like just if that was multi-platform, right? If that was on Xbox, it was on everything else. That's
Right.
like it would there's no loss I would say to the gamers other than the fact that it's an exclusive.
Hmm.
And Phil Spencer had actually said the same. He was like, I don't know the benefit of Helldivers 2. Like, I don't know who it benefits if the game is exclusive, considering what it is as a live service co-op game.
Hmm.
But at the same time, he understands it from a business perspective because look at the sales, look at how well it's doing. Um, so
And that's like,
I
yeah.
think that more games going multi-platform would help because at that point it's like, okay, I don't really have to worry about the console that I'm playing on. I just really got to worry about the games at that point. I can just focus on buying games.
Right.
You mix that with cheaper games, and it's like, wow, games are cheaper. I can play what I want, where I want, and I can have fun with all of my friends, regardless of where they're playing. And I think
Well,
that's something that would, get
one
people
one
motivated to want to buy.
one note I want to bring up to your point, Aki, is I kind of feel like the industry is eating itself alive because there's so many games coming out, and we as gamers can't decide. First of all, we can't put enough time into games between them releasing, and
You don't want to see my
uh,
backlog. I'll just say that.
I feel if
You're gonna
games were
die before you
cheaper,
play that
that would
backlog.
just
I'm
make that
telling you.
problem so much worse. Like, yeah, you would maybe sell more games, but at the cost of people having just too many games to play, and
Hmm.
then they get caught in this, decision where they don't know what to play,
Hmm.
and then you lose out on this opportunity to make microtransactions and those types of,
It's
sales
a
that
burden of
way.
choice.
Because people they can't get into a game enough to really get into the stuff where they would want to pour money into the
Yeah,
game,
to commit
you
to the
know.
game.
So, like the battle passes and things like that.
Hmm.
I think that would be the only counterpoint I would have to your point, I think. But it's a good point though. I like the idea of it bringing
Like I can see
making.
some games being
It depends
exclusive.
on the game for me. A game
There
like
we go.
GTA or a game like Final Fantasy Rebirth, I don't think would be able to be sold for less than what, the max price would be. I
You think
don't
so?
think.
No, because I
I don't
think
think
GTA could actually afford to be sold at a cheaper price because on the back end they'll be making a lot more money, especially when it comes to
You know what
GTA
they said?
Online.
You know
Well,
what they
that
said?
brings me
What?
back to the point that I said. Like,
Hmm.
if it's cheaper
Hmm.
when Halo Remaster Trilogy Edition comes out, people will buy that, and then it'll kind of take away the GTA player base for a little while. They may come back to it, but what do you do during that 3 months where the players aren't there?
GTA is
You
always
know what
making
I'm saying?
money.
That's what I'm saying. It's
Oh,
like
There's
they they're
there's
gonna
so many
always
players,
especially the RP community. Good Lord have mercy, bro.
and they sell for full price when you buy it. But
Hmm.
you know what they said, Cash?
What?
I'm pretty sure somebody behind the scenes at GTA said the value of what you are getting
Hmm.
in our game is more than $70.
yeah.
I mean, I'm
And
actually
that's
I'm inclined to
I don't
agree.
like that.
No,
I don't
but
like
this
no,
that
is
no,
stuff.
but I'm inclined
look.
to agree though.
But that's a precursor
Yeah,
to
I
them
know. Yeah, to them pricing
This,
higher.
an
this is the direct.
$85
See,
game.
Yeah.
This is the direction that I fall in. It's kind of the opposite of the point you made, Aki. And hear me out, chat. Don't come for me in the comments, but this is just what I feel could save the industry. Uh, I think games could benefit from like a variable pricing system where let's use GTA and Final Fantasy Rebirth and what's another good one?
Prince of Persia, like you mentioned.
Like a big one.
Oh, another big one.
Fortnite or something, not Fortnite, but what's it like a big like Skyrim kind of a game, like a
Mm-hmm.
big Tears of the Kingdom, like big games like those that have a lot of content you can play forever. I think games like those should be at the very high end of what the market is asking.
Those
Mm-hmm.
have the
Probably some
lowest. They
probably
have the
somewhere like
lowest.
$80 to $85 at retail price because you're getting a huge amount of content for a game.
You get the
A
least content.
lot, you're getting a lot of content in a game
How?
like that.
How? When I play
Well,
a game like Overwatch for 1,000 hours, but I play a
as
game
com
like Final Fantasy for 80 hours.
as compared to the next type of game, which would be like Prince of Persia, like their most recent one that came out, or
Mm-hmm.
like a some kind of Metrovania style game, or a game like that, an indie game essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Those kind of games would be what we're paying now, probably like $50-$60 range, and then games like remasters, like Lara Croft, the remaster we lead off the show with, the Star Wars game, games like those should be somewhere between like 19 and probably like 30, forty
I agree
dollars
with
at
that. Yeah.
retail
Mm-hmm.
price. So based upon the price alone, if I am trying to buy a game and I see the price of it, just from the price, I know kind of what I'm getting. So there's an expectation that comes with that price. Think about whenever you go to the car lot and you have all these you have a Volkswagen and then you have like a Mercedes and then you have like a Cadillac all lined up next to each other. They all have the different prices. Just from the price, I kind of can tell like what I'm gonna get out of that car. Or you have like a Maserati there. You're not gonna, it's gonna be more expensive because it's a Maserati,
You know who I
And I
blame for this price hike?
there's a quality coming with that. You know what I'm saying?
Who?
So
Nintendo?
I think
No, no,
games
no,
should
no,
go
no.
in this direction when it comes to pricing model. And it may be kind of a shock at first, but I think it would be fair
There
across
would
the
be
whole industry.
pandemonium, bro, and if that were to happen.
Yeah,
But
I'm sure it's going to be difficult to deal with.
mm-hmm.
People are going to hate it at first, but I think it's the fairest way to save the industry because developers are getting the money they need to come in to cover the cost of their game. Because in the article you post, Cash,
Mm-hmm.
there is a note in there. It says on average, games cost about 200 million to make, and that's just an average AAA title. It doesn't
Right.
include Spider-Man. It doesn't include any of these other like big
I didn't
expensive
know they were
games.
all like that.
They're all on average about $200 million to make. Here's the kicker. It said in the article that does not include marketing.
Yeah, marketing is never included in that budget.
Think about that. Marketing could easily double that number.
Mm-hmm.
It
Mm-hmm.
could,
The same thing with movies.
So yeah, so these companies need to make their money back somehow, and I think that really the way to do that is either to get it directly from our pockets by us paying more for a good product. And when I say that, I mean good product.
One.
These games like Call of Duty that only have a couple of hour length solo modes isn't gonna cut it no more for $60-$70. Like if we're paying $85+, there's a demand of quality that is expected out of that, or I'm gonna want my money back.
I'm
You know what
trying
I'm
to
saying?
understand why
And
games became so expensive to make in the first place. Like, I
think
want to
about when you
It's
go
see.
the
to
animations. It's the animations.
You think so?
think about when you go to a restaurant and the food's not up to snuff. You can send it back and they'll give you a refund.
Mm-hmm.
The same kind of standard should be applied to games.
Because I'm just thinking about, because I was
So,
wondering if it was because, a lot of people started working from home. So they kind of had to, facilitate that in terms of like infrastructure and all that other stuff. That's where my
and I
mind
That's
say
a
went.
good
that
point.
because here's the other kicker that we either can go that route and kind of just have it all fair and we all pay like kind of what it would take to cover the cost of these games, or we find ourselves at the victim of pop-up advertisements. I feel in games like YouTube
See,
advertise, like when you're
I
watching Twitch and the advertisements pop up. If we don't like figure out a way to monetize and get games good and making sure that they're able to cover their own costs, we're going to be having
that's not my
McDonald's come in
responsibility
and start.
though.
Right.
It it's got to come. The money's got to come from somewhere. Or we're gonna have someone like
It does have to
McDonald's
come from
come
somewhere,
in, or Red Bull, or AT and
and I
T,
get
or
it.
Apple come in and start putting advertisements in our games that we're gonna have to deal with. Think about if you load up Helldivers and you're launching down on the planet, and then all of a sudden a McDonald's commercial comes on. I want to stay away from that,
Yeah, I mean,
because
I get
Ads
that,
in
but
games
so
is crazy.
you know what I'm saying?
hold on, hold on. First of all, that'll never happen. If that happens, people will just stop buying the games.
Yeah,
But
that's my point. We don't want to go that direction, but
but
if
hold on. I'm
uh,
not responsible for their money. They go manage their money. When they sell me a game, if that shit, I'm sorry, if that is gonna be $70, I need 1,000 hours worth of value out of it. I do not like. You will not see me buying a
oh,
game
okay,
for
Heartless.
$60.
You manage a
Feel
restaurant,
that.
right? So when
Right.
I sell you a whatever it is that your restaurant serves, you're going to be selling me that at whatever the cost was just for the ingredients, right? You might throw a couple of extra dollars in there to cover, your staffing and just your utility
My
costs. For
overhead
the most part, it's just going to cover the food cost, right?
when I sell
So
it.
yeah, so the
No, the goal is to
industry's
make a
got
profit.
the industry, yeah. So the industry, you're going to make those profits in other ways.
Yeah, but I
Selling
don't sell
drinks,
people.
selling apps, those kind of things. That's how you're gonna make like your profit, you know? I don't
But
know. That's when I was managing Rush, that's how we made our profit,
to
was
me,
through
it's just so
those
backwards. It's
add-ons.
like you spend all this money to develop a game that I get one playthrough. If I do it twice, I get 140 hours. Great, congratulations.
Mhm.
You got games out there that are for free, and people are putting 1,000+ hours into it. It's like, what model is working? You know what? Forget about free. You got games like even like a Street Fighter. You pay $60
Okay,
for it.
so Heartless, on your side, what would be the cutoff for you? If you're gonna pay, like, let's just say a hypothetical $85 price, you're expecting 1,000+ hours minimum
I'm if I
gameplay?
my big issue is I don't want to pay $80 for a video game. Like I don't know what Final Fantasy's multiplayer is, but like if they even has one, but you go buy Final Fantasy for $70. I'd imagine you get to play the RPG story and like
Mhm.
you do the story. And once that's done, there's like nothing really else for you to do. You can go platinum the game, that's great, but
Achievement
like
hunting.
achievement hunting, like if that works for you, that works for you. But for me, like me playing an RPG, I'm capping out at about 150 hours to 200 hours. Elden Ring, two builds,
What would you feel
150 hours.
comfortable? What would be a comfortable price, you would say? Not, I mean,
If the
knowing that a
game
game
doesn't
like
have an
that costs
online,
to
if the
enjoyable
ga-
experience, knowing that it's going to cost a lot of money to give you the most enjoyable
if the
experience.
game doesn't have online and I'm relying on uh like a playthrough, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I don't want that game to cost me more than $40. I'm sorry, I
40?
really don't. And me as a consumer,
Hanging's got a cutoff here for 70. He's expecting or detecting 200 hours.
I
I,
mean that makes more
I
sense.
Yeah. $200 is a good like number
It
to put
makes
into a
sense,
game.
but even for me, when I started buying games that I can get 1,000 hours out of, it makes it hard for me to justify spending $70 to only get 200 hours.
Mm.
For me, like I am, I when I pay for a game, I'm expecting an experience out of it. And as I said earlier, paying a certain price, I'm expecting a certain level of expectation. If I'm paying 80, $85 for a game, I'm expecting a minimum of probably, yeah, around 300, 400 hours just playing the game itself without ever hopping online. And then I might add another couple hundred hours on top of that just online.
Okay. Aki, what do you
That's
think
what
about that?
that's the minimum for me.
What are
So
your thoughts on
I
this topic?
it's an interesting topic because like for the price point of games, I don't know. For me, I think the single player experiences, I just can't get behind
Spending that
paying
much?
paying that much money for a single player only experience. It's tough.
Mhm.
It's really tough because when you think about games that come packaged, at least on the Xbox side, you look at something like Halo, right?
Right.
You have a great campaign, you have multiplayer with it. Granted, Infinite had its shaky launch. You
Right.
have games like Gears, come with campaign, has its multiplayer, it does well. Games like that, where would you bracket those? For giving you a quality experience for campaign and multiplayer.
Those are
And
worth
then
more
it's
than Final
like,
Fantasy.
yeah,
Mm.
exactly.
Mhm.
I would say
yeah.
so. I would say so. But
Well,
then,
well,
I
like, well,
wouldn't take away from Final Fantasy either, right? Because that's
yeah.
amazing quality, right?
Right.
It
So
is.
for the
Well,
price you
yeah.
pay for it, you're getting something, you're getting. and this is something that PlayStation has going for them as well, right? With their exclusives. You
Mm-hmm.
know, when you're paying $70 most of the time for a PlayStation game, even if it's a single player experience, it's gonna be good. Like it's gonna be quality. You're gonna enjoy it, and you're gonna feel like you're getting your money's worth.
Right.
But then it's like, I play Warzone so much, and it's free.
For
I've played Overwatch. I've played a lot of Rocket League. Rocket League is free to play
yeah.
now, and I have hundreds of hours on Rocket League. So it's like it's tough. I don't know. Should the games just go multiplayer, free to play in general? Should multiplayer games just
Go
go
free
free
to
to play
play.
in general all the way and sell the single player experience?
Well, that's
You
actually
know,
a pretty interesting premise
It
to
is.
really think about.
For
That's actually a
for
pretty
me,
interesting idea.
I don't put the burden on the consumer necessarily, the
Mm-hmm.
price points I mentioned, and I was just guessing what the price of a game would be.
yeah,
But 2 points is we already do this with games when they come out and we do the pre-orders. Usually we're paying 90 to $100 for whatever the pre-order comes with. So we're kind of already doing this, except for Heartless. Heartless only ever pays,
You think I'd be
the bottom
working on this
version.
podcast if I could afford to pay $100 a
I
game?
just say it. Well,
My heart stopped instantly.
across the whole industry, we're kind of already doing this. I just wanted to put that out there.
This is
And
crazy.
so, um, I forgot what my second point was. Oh, so I'm putting the burden not necessarily on the consumer. I'm putting the burden on the developer to deliver us a quality product that we're not going to demand our money back. That's what I'm saying.
So I'm glad you
Like,
also brought up the developer as
oh,
well. I think they have to also get paid too, right? So where would that we're talking about production costs at this point. So you with the situation with like Helldivers, they charge like a $40 upfront fee, but I'm pretty sure you're gonna spend a lot more in the back end as well, right?
Helldivers has one big flashy animation. I mean,
at the
cutscene. It's like in
beginning,
Cutscene,
the
right?
yeah,
beginning.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's in the beginning, and then it's all gameplay.
No, I'm talking about just like the developers getting paid though.
And I get that, but what I'm saying is Helldivers can afford to sell the game for $40 because correct me if I'm wrong. You spend like a chunk of your money developing the gameplay of a game, and then a lot of it goes into all the cutscenes and animations to make it look like a movie. At
Right.
the end of God of War, at the end of Spider-Man, at the end of Final Fantasy, how many hours do we have of a 3D animated experience?
Like a cinematic experience. Yeah,
Oh well,
most of them.
to put that in effect,
Those
Heartless,
have to be costly.
it's two different style of games though. Like the Helldivers is clearly a multiplayer experience.
It's also
It
a
is.
That's
smaller
what it is.
studio. It's also a smaller studio with
And
a smaller budget.
so the overhead's probably overall a little small. Probably their biggest expense is probably server space. That's
But
probably
they
their biggest
but
expense.
they created a
Um,
super addicting game
But they did. I don't
well,
because it.
think to
but
their defense. I don't
but
think they thought this game was gonna be as successful at it as it was.
but if
But
they're
the point
selling a
is,
narrative, you have to give everything because that's the state of the industry. You can't go backwards on that
Hmm.
because you essentially would be diminishing the quality that we're expecting as consumers. That may work in movies, but it doesn't. And even then, that's debatable. I don't
uh,
know if
no
it can
soul
work
in
in
chat is
games.
saying it's the other way around. He's saying that the cinematic cutscenes do not consume a chunk, the bigger chunk
It's just
of
the
the
mechanic.
production.
So it's the mechanics in the gameplay.
Well, yeah, he's in the waiting room, so we can get his opinion on this. I just think that if a studio can make Helldivers 2, sell it for $40, and I guarantee you people are going to put more hours into Helldivers than they're going to put into like a single player like Final Fantasy.
Hmm.
One more aspect I want to say about games before we get to No Soul is video games up until maybe the last bunch of years used to just be putting out games all the time that reused assets. Where did that go? For a lot of times games aren't doing that now. Like they're so they had already stuff already made and they would just plug it into another game with enhanced everything.
Hmm.
More story, more cutscene. So that all the money went towards all that other stuff,
It's a good way
more
to save.
features, more gameplay. But now every time you pick up a game, it's rebuilt from the bottom, from the ground up. Like
That's
maybe except for the exception of Dark Souls, everything is
Did God of War do the same thing? Because I feel like God
yeah.
of War assets were pretty similar from the first game.
I understand, but overall, it feels like the industry is going that direction where they're just rebuilding all games right from
That
the
would be
ground up.
that. Sorry, but I feel like that's stupid because again,
And
God
yeah,
of War,
so
Spider-Man 2, both look like they just reused assets from previous games. So if they did actually build these games from the ground up. I think that's just
Whether they
incredibly
reuse
stupid.
assets or not, they spent $300 million making Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, that's what
So
I'm
it's-
saying. Like that's a shit ton of money, and they only recently recouped that. The only turned a profit recently, should say. Only
Think
turned a
about Call
profit
of Duty.
recently.
You know that game be reusing assets. The only thing they do is put like
Bro,
probably a new
bro,
coat of paint
bro,
on their stuff,
bro.
and that's it.
Modern
You know?
Warfare 3 was
New
just
menu screen.
the entire game of Modern Warfare 3 that came out last year was just
Yeah.
reused assets. It was the
Yeah.
gulag, my G.
Street Fighter
It
has
was
been
just
doing
the
that since the
gulag
dawn
with
of
a
time.
story.
You know,
That's
think
exactly
about
what
how
that
many
is.
versions.
Modern Warfare 2019,
Hmm.
2,
Yeah.
and 3 were all the same game.
Same game.
All the same. In fact, Modern Warfare 2's maps that were supposed to be DLC,
Hmm.
they peeled those maps off of that game and sold it as the map pack for Modern Warfare 3 so that they can have a reason to sell a third game. That's crazy.
Exactly.
That's crazy.
I say
Exactly, bro.
that would be the cost cutting technique
Bro,
that they need to go
hold
is
up.
more
Wait.
reusing assets
Wait. The
of games.
story campaign for Modern Warfare 3 was only like 3 hours.
Disgusting.
Modern Warfare
That's
3 only had
unacceptable.
3 hours of campaign.
Unacceptable for
And then
any
it was
game,
60.
period.
How much was it? $60, right? $60, $70?
But it has
Yeah.
And people
it
bought
has a
that.
chance. It has a chance to save itself because it has an online experience.
But the thing is, Heartless, right? It was
Does it save
so
itself?
bad that this game, when you had to boot the game up into Modern Warfare 2. To play Modern Warfare 3, you had to
boot it
boot
up
the
in
game Modern Warfare 2.
Well,
Disgusting.
I think we're also forgetting a point I brought up last week or maybe the week before, like games having the separate pricing. You have like the online multiplayer experience you can get for free,
Mhm.
and then the story campaign you have to pay for. I would be behind that,
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah, that'd be
I
dope.
am. I am behind that, but not if they make me download the whole game. That's predatory.
I would like to be able to download them separately, either one or the other.
You
You
can't
can.
download
You
Maybe
can.
Warzone.
No,
You
you
cannot
can't.
whatever
download Warzone without downloading the full game.
Really?
whatever interests
It's like
me.
160 gigs, bro.
If I'm a casual gamer, I'm probably gonna go for the
Unless
solo.
it's for console
And
only. But when I
Let me go
download
find out
it,
exactly how many gigs it is.
yeah, when I
Go find
download on console, it asks me if I want only the story or only multiplayer for Call of Duty.
Nah, for me to play Call of Duty Warzone, I have to download all of Call
That
of
might
Duty.
be a PC thing.
It might be.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I've never played Warzone, so.
I
Okay.
played Warzone like once. So
Game settings.
Wow,
Let me
this is
see.
indeed a very hot topic. I knew it was going to be a hot topic as soon as I brought up that pricing, because it's really, and I feel it's inevitable we're headed towards that price
see,
hike. I really do.
Pinksy said it in the chat. They're all separate content packs.
Yeah, I feel it's inevitable. I really would. Look, I would prefer this, as I said earlier. I
Mhm.
would prefer this 100,000%
All right,
over
so we're about to pull
McDonald's
in.
ad,
Yeah,
a McDonald's ad popping up in my
we're gonna
face.
pull an industry vet into the chat real quick. No soul.
There's already ads in your games, just in a different way. Like you'll see like a Coca-Cola billboard in the back.
Yeah, you see those things, like, but
You see those
That's
things.
okay.
no, but
That's
he's
acceptable.
thinking of more intrusive ads. That's
You
what
know,
Jeremy's
like
I don't
when
think that's
when
gonna happen. I don't think that's
when
gonna
I'm on
happen.
Twitch, if I don't subscribe, I get interrupted with ads, and I do not want that experience in my game.
That'd be listen.
I,
I'd return
I
that game the minute I get an ad. Like, I'm
yeah,
sorry, it's
I
done.
draw the line. I will smash my PlayStation like the Office Space movie if the industry goes that way. You know?
Long time vet is a
Imagine,
bitch. Much. All right, cool. You can
imagine
tell them.
console games and PC games just and everybody went gotcha. That's it. Everything's a gotcha game.
Right?
Oh my
It'd
goodness.
be over, bro. But because thing does it already. Doesn't Fortnite do stuff like that? They'll have ads in their game to some extent. Not,
Oh,
but it's like ads within the game itself, like
well,
new skins and all that stuff.
look who Fortnite sort of got bought out by recently, Disney.
Disney.
So they're gonna have Disney products everywhere, all over the time now.
Was it a
in
buyout or
Fortnite.
was it like a partnership? Is it more of a
A
buyout or
partnership?
partnership?
It's
Yeah.
it's they call it partnership, but yeah, you
Yo,
never
what do
know
you?
what-
I don't even know what to expect from that partnership. It's kind of crazy.
Well, it's gonna be Disney stuff. It's gonna be literally like that Disney Infinity game, just Fortnite. You
on
know?
on steroids. All right, I'm gonna
Yeah.
pull No Soul in so he can like give us 2 cents about the situation. No Soul, you can let us know like what industry, what companies you've worked with and all that stuff. So
Welcome in, No Soul.
No Soul, you're live.
Howdy, everybody.
Welcome in. How's it going?
Hello.
Before
Okay.
before you start, Sonal, so I just want to ask, what is the most recent game you bought and for what price?
The most recent game that I bought and for what price was
Mhm.
Helldivers at 4 copies.
Okay.
Okay.
My most recent single player game was Balatro at 15.99.
15, 1
Was
5.
it on sale or was that the full price?
No, that is full price due to it being an indie roguelike.
Okay.
Okay. Indie. Yeah,
All right.
see, that's right about the price point I mentioned. Yeah.
So, all right. No. So,
So
tell us a little bit about like just the companies
Everything we
you work
said.
with. Yeah, that and the
everything
company
you
you
said.
work with. Just to, you know.
Okay, so I popped in when you guys were talking about like games being $70, 70, 80, 90, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I have been in the industry, and we're going to put that in big quotes. For 30 now. I officially started the industry at 21.
Okay.
As an
What do you do?
underwriter. I am a currently my job title is freelance writer for under contract of Square Enix. That is my technical title.
Okay.
Okay.
I've worked on things such as the remake KH3.
Mm-hmm.
I helped with 14, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Specifically, started out with like item descriptions and moved into character bios at the age of like 23, I want to say.
Okay.
Okay.
So, a game studio's goal. So when you're about to sell a game, okay, so the game is made, you're like, we're gonna put this out to market.
Mm-hmm.
The thought process is this: you will, the average player should have enough content to only have to spend $1 an hour. That was the original thought process between multiple games,
Oh,
or
I'm greedy.
with multiple games.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
So
greedy.
about 60 hours to 50 hours a
60,
game ish.
50 to 60 hours was the
Okay.
original thought process, right? That was the
Is
like
that just story? Or are we talking overall like the platinum game?
Experience, I
over.
think.
So the experience of the game before the average gamer were to stop playing. Now
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So not so
let's
not platinum a game.
no,
Not
no,
okay.
not like platinum the game. Just like if you were to hand the controller to some rando off the street, the thought process was $1 an hour.
Okay.
That was as
And
of
this is
about
American dollars, I assume.
yeah, yes,
Okay.
USD. So things shifted very, I'm going to put this in quotes, recently, as of like 2010 ish.
Mm-hmm.
uh it started with the we need more content, so they shifted into multiplayer content comes from players, like you
2010.
get maps and
That's
stuff
probably
from
right about the
devs.
time Modern Warfare came out, the first one,
Yeah,
roughly.
correct.
2009, right? Yeah, okay.
So devs were still putting out content and stuff like that, maps, patches, and such. But your time commitment came from you. It wasn't like, oh, there's something that I need to complete, so it's going to take me X amount of hours to complete. Da, 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 da. It was like, okay, so in order to get more content out of our game and more people playing the game for longer, to then keep using that same game instead of making a new one, we're going to put out periodic content, and people just flocked to it because it was an extreme multiplayer experience and it
Mm-hmm.
worked. So, but then that became the new norm of like, oh, well, a game should have 80, 90 plus hours of content for $60. A game should have 300 hours of content with multiplayer for $60. Up until recently, and when I say recently, I mean the past 5 years, uh, the selling point again was the dollar an hour.
Mm-hmm.
But game devs had that expectation from players of like, I want an 80, 90 an hour, 90, 100-hour game. Specifically speaking, let's look at probably the most heinous act recently of P3 Reloaded being way more expensive than it should have been.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to us. Did you
So
get
How
100
much was
hours out
it?
of that game?
$60? Was that a $60 game?
it was like
The
70.
re- Okay. That's
7,
yes,
yeah. So
that's the MSRB of a game these days.
here's the issue with that. And this is a very heinous example. because all that they did was they took P3, they stuck Persona 3 that they've already made not once, not twice, but 3 times, right? And
Mm-hmm.
stuck a fresh coat of paint on it and gave you a solid maybe 20 more hours of content. P3, if you 100% the game, has over I think it's like 200 hours of content,
Wow.
Mm.
which is great. It's cool. Uh do you want to know the original price for P3 on the PSP? It was
Well, like,
$30.
yeah,
Wow.
it's probably the asking price of a game back then, right? For
Yeah.
the standard
Yeah, it was
price.
30
Yeah.
bucks on the PSP.
Mm.
And then it did nothing but go up. And that's because uh while yes, they had to report and change things, that's just game devs being greedy. Like 100%. Do
Wow.
I believe that like a game I think what Rebirth FF Rebirth right now is what like $70 I think they're putting it out.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
So
that is
yeah.
a whole overhaul, though. That's a bit of a
and I
different
understand
situation.
this.
Yeah.
Well, so but in the same sense, if I were to look at you guys and
Mm.
be like, okay, so here's a full overhaul of a game and $70, and here's a remake of a game and it's $70. Which one sounds less heinous to you?
The full overhaul to me.
For me, well, it depends on what you mean by remake.
Some
Laura
remakes are
Croft is
really
a remake.
remasters, bro. To
I
me.
wouldn't use the word remake. If it's just like upgrade refix, I would use the word remaster, like
Mm-hmm.
Laura Croft was.
Mm-hmm.
But
But
what which one sounds more heinous though?
I
Because
would not pay with the. I think Final Fantasy is a big exception here because literally, it's a whole new game.
It is an outlier. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
It's a whole new thing. I mean, granted, it's probably the same story. I wouldn't be surprised if they expand on it because why not? But the just from the graphical upgrades and the combat upgrades, I think it's okay to spend $70 on that one. But Persona though, that is not a big enough graphical leap for me to
no,
uh,
and I
uh
get that.
to spend that much money on a game like
So
that.
are you ready for a little surprise that you're gonna actually hate me for saying?
What's
Go
up?
What
for
you
it.
just said, Germ, is literally why people are getting charged $70 for a game
For Persona.
Oh,
or any games
any
now.
game because
Specifically, what you just said is the
Because they
graphical
slap
stuff,
they slap good graphics and they think that they can charge $70.
Well,
and
these systems are powerful now, so I wouldn't accept any I wouldn't accept anything less.
then be ready to
You're
pay
not.
for more. That's where the industry's headed. That's
mm,
the
That's
issue.
more of Switch territory. Reputting the same game with a slightly better graphics on a superior system. That's more Switch's game, you know.
And I
But
understand that, but I'm not saying like, oh, we need to have like the new FF7 look like the old FF7, but people are getting charged more because they're diving deeper into making games.
mm.
okay, so
And
let me throw another example at you, Solo or Soul No Soul. Is what about the Metal Gear bundle they just put out recently? It's got like
oh,
what
that
4 or 5
entire thing,
games on
yeah,
there. Yeah, it's like what $60,
yeah,
and it's a lot of
they're
content.
just ports.
So
They are
yeah,
just
essentially that
ports.
was what I say. It's just a port. There was no remaster. There was nothing new done there. It's just a port. However,
Mm-hmm.
You get a
with
lot
Metal
of
Gear
them.
Solid, it is a remaster of the original. So you know what I mean, or a redo of the original. So is that worth 60
It's,
bucks? I think so.
it's
But
and that's understandable. It's also a subject matter thing. Like people are dumb. A person is smart, people are dumb. And when you take a name like Metal Gear Solid, like MGS, Persona, Final Fantasy, Kingdom Hearts, Street Fighter, Tekken, and you slap a new coat of paint on it and you make it $70, people are going to buy it.
Yeah.
And
since you
are
work in the
you
industry, no
yeah.
soul. What do you think's gonna save the industry? Layoffs are going around. It just seems like profit margins are dropping. What do you
The
feel
industry's
is
fine.
the answer? Yeah.
I
What
think
do
the
you
industry's
feel?
fine.
So I was talking about this yesterday with Cash, and I don't
Mm-hmm.
know if anybody else heard it. the industry is the most volatile. The gaming industry is the most volatile industry in the world right now when it
Besides
comes to,
crypto.
well, volatile in the sense of keeping and like
You mean fickle?
maintaining. No, volatile is a much better word
I would say
because
the movie industry is pretty cutthroat. But yeah, can go ahead and continue.
are you? So I'm gonna reference this very specific
Movie industry has a
short.
union.
Yeah,
True.
Gaming
that's true.
doesn't.
So the gaming industry is not. You can be like part of the animators union, but there's no like
Mhm.
union for people in the video game industry.
Right.
So I'm going to reference a short from Pirate Software. If you guys don't know who that is, he's an ex
Yeah.
Blizzard employee.
He
There's a
hates
story
them.
from him. Yeah, no. There's a story from him, and it kind of starts out. I'm going to paraphrase this because I don't remember it verbatim. But when you walked into Blizzard as an employee, there was a front entrance. When Blizzard was going through their layoffs, they didn't need to do. They lined up all of the managers in front in the foyer,
They don't
right?
let them in the
As
building.
you walked in, they essentially herded you to the left, to the right. If you went to the right, you went into your desk and you completed your day. If you went to the left, they put you into a room, said walk through that door. It was an unmarked door, and it was an exit to the back of the building,
The
and that
fuck?
was that's how you
Yeah.
figured out if you were laid off.
What?
And
Yeah.
and they legally could do that. And then the people who used the back entrance of the building, if they weren't on the list to stay, managers had to go and remove them from the building
Let's put it in context.
That
without.
is insane.
For the people who normally enter through the back
Hmm?
and they weren't met with a group of managers in the front, they went to their desk, and if they were laid off and they were never told because they didn't go through the front anyways, then the managers would come and hunt them at their desks and tell them to
Yeah.
leave.
Yep.
Jeez.
Wow.
That's insane.
That's horrible.
That is
And
horrible, bro.
so and that's granted like a horror story, but that's how like volatile the gaming industry is to an extent. And it comes down to the fact that it's unregulated. It is the wild west of employment options right now. And
Jeez.
uh, to go back to the movie thing, who like who's aware of Charlie Chaplin? Like one
Yes,
of the
yeah,
original like
Oh
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
actors.
I, I live in California.
Chap.
He used to film his movies where I used to live, Fremont,
Okay,
California.
so one of the movies that Chaplin was a part of, he went in. Oh jeez, he went in, did the movie, and they were like, "We'll pay you a quarter of what we're going to owe you up front." Okay, so they paid him whatever amount of money it was, and then the day before they were supposed to pay him out contractually, they laid him off, took his name out of the credits, and only paid Charlie Chaplin like it was like $5,000 or something,
And
or
that was
maybe that
before
gross.
union. That's before the industry
That
was
was before the
unionized.
unions. Yes, that was before the unionization of
Hollywood.
everything. The actors union.
Hmm.
Okay, so are you saying, Zeely, probably unionization might be a potential solution for the gaming
Um,
industry? Because
I
I
think
feel that probably wouldn't help with the layoffs because they would just justify that there's no money coming in. You know what I'm saying?
unionization
So,
is going to help. Regulation is, and not
okay.
regulation of like what you can and can't make.
Hmm.
Regulation of how the jobs are dealt with.
Mm.
Layoffs are a thing. They're always going to be a thing. Specifically speaking, I've
So
been laid off six
what
times.
about contracts? So instead of just working for say EA and I do a
Okay,
job for them,
this is something that
what
I
if
know quite a bit about. Hit
what
me
if
with it.
I come into a game for like a 3 game contract? I work for
Okay.
3 games for them, and if the games turn out to be profitable, then I sign another contract. You know what I'm saying? And I stay with the company, kind of like
Okay.
athletes do. What do you think of that? Because me being in esports, that's exactly how we operate for the organization I have. We have our players under contract. We expect a certain level of performance out of them, and at the end of the contract, we are going to assess their ability to continue as a comp player, and we will let them go, or we will, you know what I'm saying? We will
Yeah.
part ways mutually if we decide that it may not be the best fit for them, so we can bring in another player. What do you think about that for the industry from a
Uh,
layoff perspective? Because it wouldn't stop the layoffs, but it seems like it would be more fair.
Hmm.
You know, I kind of
are
brought
are
it up
you
a couple
ready
weeks ago with Final Fantasy. Go ahead.
for an incredible hot take on
I'm
this?
ready.
And
We're
this
ready.
is
By the way,
All
Aki, if you have a question,
contracts,
feel free to chime in. By the way.
all contracts are predatory, and it's that simple. As somebody who has dealt with probably more contracts than 80% of the people, like in the normal world, if that makes any sense, all contracts are predatory
Why? Break
and
it down
are
for us.
all
Can you
so okay.
expand? Can you expand?
Yes,
Are you on? You said you're under contract.
I have been under contract more times than I can count.
Okay.
I've signed more NDAs than I can count.
So if you
Specifically
can't talk about
speaking,
it, don't talk about it, because I don't want
no,
you to
no,
get in trouble.
I can talk about this. No, 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 I'm not breaking NDA by talk. I'm not going to talk about my contracts. I'm just going to say in general.
in general.
All contracts are predatory in the sense that while a contract, legally speaking, needs to have benefits for both sides, and a contract will fulfill that between the most basic one would be like, you work for me, I pay you money.
Yeah.
Therefore, the contract is mutually beneficial for both parties. Therefore, the contract is legal.
Yeah.
That does not mean that a contract is not predatory. 9 times out of 10, you will find incredibly predatory contracts.
I know
And if you're
exactly
not,
where you're going with that, because most contracts have a clause in it where the person who gives the contract has a right to change the contract at any time.
that's actually
So,
not where I'm going for.
but they do,
Yeah,
so most
the
people who sign contracts don't read that part. You can
correct.
negotiate that out of a
That's on you.
contract,
You gotta read. You gotta
but
read
most
Yeah.
your
people
contracts.
don't read that. So um, that's a
All
additional predatory element of most contracts.
Yeah.
correct. But
So
even apart from that though, Germ, like even if you didn't have that clause in your contract, let's say everything was like in stone, I can't change this even though I've given you this contract. A smart person who is giving the contract is not going to do a one for one thing. Uh, and that's completely legal for them to do. So a good contract would be like I stated. The example would be you do this for me, I give you money, contract signed, GG, you're done.
See, the thing is, companies they will put a lot of stuff in their contracts and to protect themselves.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
That's
that's
for sure.
exactly
exactly
what
what
I
I mean
said.
by predatory.
That's
Yes.
exactly what I leaned into just a minute ago. They can modify a contract, terms of it at any time legally
No,
to
that's
benefit
if you
them
sign a
and any
contract that says they
entity.
can do that. But if
Well,
I sign a
most
contract,
do. That's the
Yeah.
problem,
most
So
do. What
most
do you mean
do.
most?
If
In what
you
scenario?
okay, and
In
if you have
all
signed
scenarios.
if you have signed any terms of service or if you have signed any contract with any company,
They can say
That's
they can.
not
probably
They basically say
that's
they can alter the
I
contract.
yeah,
I
but that's
guarantee
not like
you
a
there's a
personal contract though.
no, I guarantee you, Cartless, there's a clause in those contracts that
Yeah, they're
says
subject to change,
they can
100%.
modify it without even notifying
Yeah,
you
it's
at
their
any time.
ecosystem.
Yeah.
That's that contract is about me joining an ecosystem. But
A
when you talk, when
story, a story that I have from Excel and Heartless is we were signing a player, Street Fighter player, and we were negotiating the contract, and he noticed that in the contract. And he negotiated it out of the contract. Now the contract says if there's any changes, we have to notify them, and then if he decides to part ways, he parts ways. That was something specific to that player, and good to that player for noticing that. So, you know, I'm just saying, like those clauses do exist for all contracts. It's just you have to, as a consumer, you have to spot them and take them, call them companies
yeah,
out.
I mean
So.
those are like pretty like general contracts, so terms of service and stuff like that. And that's I mean what's going on like with the XLman contract, but most of the time when you get a contract, you should have your like I'm talking about like
Lawyers.
you're going to work for a company. You're going to work for a company. Or you own a business and Coca-Cola is trying to get your business. They want to be in your store. You get a contract and it's up to you to decide if I want to live with these terms. It's up to you. Now, I'm not saying that contracts and the people who hold contracts are predatory. I do agree. Contracts are pretty predatory in nature. The person with the most money is going to try to protect their money. So they put a lot of things in that contract to ensure that they cannot be sued. And unfortunately, the person with the bigger money has to do that because they have to protect their money. Because if you're a company that, let's say, is handing out this contract to 20, 30, 40, 50 people a year that are going through this contract, eventually somebody can find a loophole in your contract and sue you for everything you're worth.
I know exactly what you mean, Heartless. From X Element, we have the exact same thing. Like we put money into players, we give them equipment, we send them places to compete for us. We have to protect our investment, and
Yeah.
they have to hold up their end of the contract, or
Hmm.
we're in trouble. So
Yeah.
just from that perspective, Noso and Aki and everyone, the contracts are not predatory in that sense because they have to protect the person who is giving you
I think
something
I think
essentially. So
they're predatory still. I think contracts are
yeah.
predatory still because at the end of the day, most big companies are looking to juice out the most money out of the most people that they possibly can
Without spending
And
and with
with
by spending less.
yeah,
by spending
so
less.
Yeah.
Jeremy, X Element is an exception to the rule. You guys are very much you're good people, and I'm not just saying that because you're here. Uh,
Thank you.
but in a sense, so you guys do need to protect your investment, and I understand that. If
They're
you gave
small.
me a
They're
thousand
small.
dollars, well, if you gave if X Limit gave me $1,000 and was like, hey, don't touch this button, and I touch the button, there's an issue. But we're not talking about a company that cares. We're talking about a company that is going to be like, hey, here's what you can and can't do. And by the way, if you do anything that we deem as unnecessary, you owe us money. I
Hmm.
I have been my first contract. If I broke it, are you guys like every
Only
I'm
if
ready.
you're
single?
allowed to say. If you're not allowed to
No, no,
do any
we're ready to
details,
hear.
don't get yourself in
No, no, no.
trouble.
I
Heartless is.
can. I'm trying to say
Okay.
it correctly.
Mm-hmm.
If I broke my first ever contract,
Mm-hmm.
I would owe the company that I broke that contract with $5 million per
Okay.
clause
See?
broken.
Okay, question.
Shit.
What is it that they're protecting? What is it that is worth to them is worth $5 million that they don't
It
want you
doesn't
getting it?
matter.
All,
What
Well,
I'm
I
it's
can
saying
all.
answer
It's
is,
that
about keeping
question.
you in
I can.
line at that point.
you
I,
cannot answer that question, Gerb. I'm
I
sorry, but
can.
you can't.
I can answer that question partially,
Mm-hmm.
Arliss. What you're protecting is the fact that we have come to an agreement, and there has to be serious circumstances for breaking an agreement.
Is
And
that even a
it
word?
may be a ridiculous price to break the contract, but it's supposed to be that way because it's a
So
contract.
that you don't break the
You're,
contract.
you're not supposed to just throw them away like you do like wrapping for your burger. It's supposed to be, carry weight so that you actually fulfill the agreement.
No, no, no. My
That's
question
why.
is, are they trying to set up a contract in which people fuck up so that they can charge him $5 million, or is it something in the contract that says if you release this information, or if you do anything that causes detriment to the release of X product, you are liable for X amount of money. That's what I'm asking. Is what are we talking about here?
I feel we're
In
kind of getting
this,
away from gaming industry as a whole, but hopefully we'll circle back. But
oh
go
no,
ahead.
so in this specific instance, it was oh, give me a minute. It's been years now. It was something along the lines of oh, it was an interaction clause.
Mm.
Uh, I was not allowed to interact with a specific branch of the
This is
place that I was
predatory.
freelancing
This is
for.
predatory. This is how companies keep employees from getting information to other
Uh,
employees that make that.
no, this
That's
in
just
this
business.
right
That's not
here
predatory. That's just
was
business.
not predatory. It was so the reason that I in my position was not supposed to interact with the people in that position
Mm-hmm.
was due to the fact that I had nothing to do with that. They needed to be their own separate entity in that situation, and I needed to be mine because they needed something specific from us. That is not a predatory thing.
Okay.
But I have had contracts in which I literally wrote something that they wanted me to write, and then they told me that I broke contract because I asked this specific question.
Mhm.
That's predatory.
That's
They
yeah.
took
Mm-hmm.
Seems-
and
don't
yes,
ask.
and
Don't ask.
I
Don't ask too many questions.
yes, that
Um,
is the predatory nature of the gaming
I
industry
got
right
you.
now, being that
Agreed.
They are taking specific things and saying, no, you can't ask this. No, you can't have this. No, our devs can't make this because X, Y, and Z.
Okay.
Okay.
And
Well,
devs are
let's
breaking.
circle it. Let's circle back here because we don't want our guest Aki. I don't know if you're on a time limit or not, but
Oh, he missed
um,
that limit. He's missed it.
He
okay,
definitely missed
He's
that.
beyond
yeah.
it. He's
He's
true
never
petty.
But
coming on this show
we're all
ever
good.
again.
No, no,
yeah, he's like, this got political way fast. I'm out of here.
no, no,
Yeah.
we're definitely good. We're definitely good. Everything is good, and I am
Um,
having a good time. So I appreciate you guys
um,
inviting me
do
up.
you,
Appreciate
This is
you.
do
awesome.
you do you have any takes on anything that Solo has said so far? It feels very complicated issue.
Hmm.
It doesn't feel like there's any right answer really. It could go any direction, but ultimately, it feels, in my opinion, the money is going to decide.
Money.
But
It's
I
always
would look
money.
Right.
always money.
God,
But
I wish I could say something was completely. Like, I wish I could say you're wrong, Germ. With every fiber being, I wish I could say that, but you are 100% correct.
It's always
It's
money.
it. Yep, it
Always
comes
money.
down
The
to
money.
literal pennies.
see,
Pleasing shareholders.
this is why we're all homies here in the KXI community and X Element communities because we have different opinions, but we still always bring it
I'm
home
just trying to learn. So
to the wholesome senses.
Yeah.
So props to
when
you,
I
though.
somebody
mean,
So
corrects me, I get to learn. So it's
Right.
great.
mhm.
Aki,
well,
any thoughts?
I'm not gonna sit here and fight it. Like
Right.
you're right, Germ. I wish you weren't. You just are. Like,
It's like that inconvenient truths
Right.
that we all have to understand.
Yeah. You got any thoughts, Aki, on this whole situation?
Not too many.
Hmm.
It is a very interesting talking point.
Right.
Um, but I'm kind of neutral with all of it, at least with that topic specifically.
Okay.
And it is just business at the end of the day for much of it, and I'll leave it there.
Okay.
Do you
Aki
have
and
some
I
more
share.
time, Aki, to spend with us? Because we have an
Yeah,
Xbox topic we were looking to get into. I don't know, Cash,
yeah.
if you want.
Yeah.
Okay, cool, cool.
I will
Heartless.
say
Go
Definitely
this
ahead,
have
though.
Cash.
time.
Aki
Definitely
and I
have
If
share
time.
the same sentiment though about if you're gonna spend $70 for a game, I want to get hundreds of hours out of it
Right.
personally, or I'll wait till that game's on sale.
well, here's the ultimate debate. Last kind of point on this topic is I think there's a bit of a misunderstanding on how much a game would need to be to break even. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
What is that number? Does anyone know it? I threw out the number $85 out there because it kind of just seems like a $15 price seems good,
No, I
but
think
not
ten
too
dollars,
much
like
for the
incrementally
consumer.
over the past
So,
like few years, it's been like an increment
but
like
based upon
jump
Spider-Man alone, where it said it was $300 million and they need to sell 100, they needed to sell 10 million at $70.
to break even.
So, so cut that in half. That would be $140 would be 5 million copies. So, what's the actual price to break even for a realistic selling for game? Let's just say 8 million would probably be somewhere, yeah, around $80 to $85.
Mm.
Probably.
That's like,
So,
but the thing is, like, bro, that's like my pizza shop trying to tell people that my $50 pizza is what they should be buying, and 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 they're just like, bro, I don't have that kind of money, so you need to figure out how to make a pizza that's affordable.
Mm.
That's how I view it.
you
It's
can
like
buy a
no,
slice of the pizza, you know?
but
No,
that's how
I'm
I
just
view it
kidding.
though. It's like you want to keep raising the prices of games. At some point, the consumer is gonna say, "Hold up there, hold
Yeah.
up there.
Yeah.
I got bills to pay." Like, you know what I'm saying? And
Well,
that's why we're seeing these
I
companies
also this is why I didn't want games to go cheap. No offense to your point, Aki, but I feel games being cheaper would just eat the industry alive because, as I said earlier, there'd be too much. People would have too many games and they couldn't
kind of
play them all.
backwards take is that? We want more
No,
games cheaper.
Oversaturated.
He wants less games
I,
for
I,
more expensive. I want more games
I
for
So
cheaper.
we are in a renaissance of games, and I'm here for it. But I feel like the industry is eating itself because there's
More
just too much
competition means
choice.
better
Too
quality
much
because only the
choice.
best stay at the top.
Mm-hmm. True. Agreed. I totally agree
Okay,
with
and
that
fair.
statement.
That's a fair
are
point.
you ready for the funniest thing about that?
What was
We're
that?
talking about an industry that allows monopoly.
Of
Have fun
course,
with that thought process.
of
That's
course.
why
All right.
games are $70 because there's a
Gotcha.
monopoly on it.
All right,
All
Cash, are
right,
we ready to
listen,
move
listen.
on to the Xbox
We're gonna
topic?
move on to the
Or
Yes, we're
Xbox.
gonna move on to the Xbox.
No Soul, thank you for
Thank
being with us. Thank you for your opinion.
yes.
We're gonna get go on this Xbox topic. It's the last topic. Bear with us, everybody. We've had people in this chat for 2 hours and 19 minutes straight.
Engage,
Shout
yeah,
out to the
engaging
lurkers.
with
Like
chat too,
Carlos
bro.
always said.
Appreciate y'all.
Engaging with chat too.
And just a reminder for all the people who are in here for like for all 3 episodes so far, you guys have automatically been entered in a raffle, which we should be doing a raffle at some point, like next week or the following week.
Mhm.
Right?
What are we raffling off again?
I have no
Do we know
idea.
yet?
I have no
Or
idea.
I'm excited.
It's a
I
work in
have,
progress. We'll figure it out.
Yo, the podcast has
I
been
have.
going on so long. I had to stretch.
Right? Um.
I just want to. I want to give just a shout out to the potential thing we could be raffling off,
Oh, we
chat. In
could give
case if
those
anyone,
away. Those are
in case
dope.
if anyone's interested, sound off because there's
Oh,
something that could
We
be,
got a bunch of shit
you
we
know.
can give away. So we got the coins, we got games, and there's
But
also a potential like $10 gift card.
yeah, maybe all of the above. But
Right.
okay, so Xbox.
All
Let's
right,
talk
so
about
yeah, let's
Xbox.
get to the Xbox topic. So one of the main reasons why I brought you on, Aki, I feel like you're the kind of person that has their pulse on all things Xbox, because I follow you on Twitter or X, whatever y'all want to call it. I call it Twitter still, and like I like a lot of the content you post. So which is why I was like, yo, maybe I need to reach out to him, hear what he has to say about some of these things. So one of the biggest talking points right now is the fact that Xbox is, kind of playing with the idea of third party games, right? They got 4 games that recently went third party. What do you think the end game is for PlayStation? For Xbox, what do you think they're thinking about?
I think they're thinking about paving their own way in
Mm,
the industry. They want to go their own way,
yeah.
and they know they have the means to do so. Because they're Microsoft,
Right.
right? It doesn't hurt them to try new things, and I think this is one of them.
Hmm.
Not focusing so much on the hardware side of things or uh, just games, right? They invested in all these games.
Hmm.
They have all these new studios now. They have Call of Duty, like it. They have Game Pass. They have this very nice ecosystem that's working for them.
Hmm.
Um, so I feel like end game for them is okay. We want we want Xbox to be everywhere. Uh that you have a screen. That's kind of the dialogue that they've used.
Right.
Every screen is an Xbox, and through cloud, through Game Pass, through even being going third party now with PlayStation, being on PC, having open relationships with like Valve and Steam.
Right.
Like it's
If
they're
I
in a
could play
good
Xbox,
position.
if I
They're
could
in a
play
good
Xbox on
position
my
to expand.
fridge, they would let me, right?
I mean, funny enough, you see them release things like a toaster and a mini fridge, and it's like even them doing that.
Right.
It's funny, but they're going with like the culture as well, which is kind of cool. Some might say that it looks desperate, but
Right.
I'd say from an end game standpoint, I think they figured we have older games that we can let go of in the sense of just opening up the player base, and I think games like Grounded and Sea of Thieves,
Hmm.
being two of them, like that's awesome.
Yeah. Not
I
a.
love seeing that happen. Like, it's cool now because when you play a game like Sea of Thieves and you know that there's crossplay now, that's another thing I love about the age of crossplay we live in.
Hmm.
We talked about it
It's
last
like
week.
wow, that person on that ship could be playing on a PlayStation. This person could be playing on a PC. That person might be on
Right.
Xbox, and it's cool
Hmm.
for gaming. And it goes back to like just gaming being fun,
Right.
right? Being able to play where you want to play, and the fact that it seems some might say that it's Xbox giving up, and I understand that. And I understand the other variables of it too, where it's like, oh my God, if Xbox goes third party, what'll happen to all the things that I've invested in? I'm not naive to any of that,
Hmm.
but in an age where everything is going digital, I feel like this is Xbox preparing for that before everyone else. But it also just so happens to be that consoles like the PS5 and the Switch have sold better than an Xbox console
Right.
over the years. So I think they're just preparing for the future.
Right. I think they kind of
I
like when you think about Xbox, they've kind of paved the way when it comes to like gaming stuff. As much as people like to hate on Xbox, one of the main things they were the like strongest proponents when it came to online play. Because if Call of Duty wasn't on Xbox during that time, that's when like online play, like playing with friends online, catapulted, bro. During the 360 era, it was such like a new experience for people.
Bro, I had friends playing online on the original Xbox.
Oh, really? But no, what I'm saying with 360 though, 360 did something like totally different. It kind of blew this whole online thing out of the water when it came to like playing with friends online. I had friends that I was playing with in the UK, and just like you could just actually just go into a party and just talk to friends. That was like so friggin' like dope for us to experience
Yeah.
during that time.
Um, Back in the old Xbox days,
Right.
I'm sure you guys know, like
And for
being able to talk with someone across the country was just so mind
Right.
blowing at the time.
And even with like PlayStation wasn't that user friendly during that time, which is why Xbox I feel like they kind of won that era in console war because it was such a good like platform, was a such a great device at that time, right? So yeah, bro. But one of the other things I wanted to point it out too, like the games like Grounded and Sea of Thieves, I feel like they kind of like hit their peak on Xbox. Like there's no new fans coming to those games, right? They kind of hit critical mass. So I feel like they wanted to expand the player base onto other platforms, which makes sense from a business standpoint. You want to appeal to new people. You want
It kind
it.
of brings us
Mhm.
to the point we were talking about earlier, reusing assets. That's
Right.
essentially what they're doing. They
Mhm.
are
They keep
reusing
bringing
an
you food.
asset and launching it to a whole new player base.
Right? It's like
Essentially,
yeah,
that's what
it's
they
just
just did.
increasing their player pool. That's essentially what they're doing, and that's bringing in more profit to the company, which then serves the device and serves their product of Xbox. So I think it's a good idea. I don't see it as a problem. Like I remember when like a lot of diehard Xbox fans had an issue like 2 weeks ago. I want to say Ahmed, right? About 2 weeks ago, like
Oh
people were
yeah, it was
losing
bad.
their shit about this, the potential games that are coming. Like people were saying, Halo was gonna be third party. I'm like, that's not gonna happen. Gears of War was gonna go third. That's not gonna happen. That they were just pointing out a bunch of games that I feel like, no, I don't think they'll do that. But I can see certain games going third party
Well,
because it makes
first of
sense.
all, Microsoft would have to come out with a game first,
Hmm.
which they haven't done in years for Halo or Gears. So,
Halo was what, last year, the year before, but Gears hasn't seen a new installment in like 3 years. I
long
want to
time.
say.
Yeah. Gears 5,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yep.
And I'm so pissed about that too. But at the same time, I feel like Gears of War and Halo doesn't have that draw factor like it did back in the day. And that sucks. I feel like they need to also think about games that appeal to the mainstream. I don't Xbox has some great games, but they don't have that mass appeal, if that makes sense. Am I making sense to you guys? It feels like
I
a lot of
feel
the games don't
I
catch the
I
ear of regular
feel
people.
I feel Halo's got itself kind of struck in the Street Fighter realm where the characters are super iconic,
Hmm.
but not a lot of people play the games. You know what I'm saying? They're kind of they have a very niche people that actually play those games, but
Hmm.
everyone knows who they are, you
Yeah.
know? So they're kind of stuck in
That's why they're
Yeah.
making TV shows now.
But
I
they
agree. I agree because it's like you got, Xbox held on to Master Chief and
hmm.
Marcus for so long,
Right.
and that's really all Xbox was. I mean, yeah, you got Forza,
Hmm.
but the characters, it was Master Chief and Marcus. And then when you look at the PlayStation side of things, you got Kratos, you got Spider-Man, you got
You
Joel,
got so
you
many.
know, there's so many,
Hmm.
I guess you could say iconic characters on the
Ratchet and
PlayStation
Clank,
side.
like
Oh
bro,
my
there's
goodness,
so
yeah, like
many.
it, and
yeah.
it's like now
Then you
Xbox is
have
stepping into it.
Nintendo out there just schooling everybody, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
just happy with Mario,
Right.
Link, and it's just going absolutely great over there.
Right. So I feel like they can't just rely on those two. They can't rely on just those two characters. I feel like they need to, because even like Senua Saga, that's about to come out. That's a great game, but I don't think it has that mass appeal that I'm talking
But
about.
you guys brought up a
You
great
know,
point.
Mhm.
I have a question for you, Aki, before Heartless's question. What keeps you playing Xbox? Well, especially when there's PC and all those other things out there. What keeps you on Xbox?
okay, so that's a great question and an interesting one because I play primarily on my PC, but I also have Xbox consoles. One is my own as well that I play on too. And I guess what keeps me on it mostly right now on the console side of things is that there's some games that would come to Game Pass, and sometimes they wouldn't be on the PC
PC.
version of
Yep.
Game Pass.
Hmm.
So, like Kingdom Hearts, for example, came and I couldn't play that on PC, but I'm able to play that on the console version of it. So it's awesome.
Hmm.
If all the games came over to PC, like the Kingdom Hearts, everything moved over, it might be a different case for me at that point. I'm not sure.
Right.
Um,
You'd be
but I
part of the
won't lie.
PC master race.
Yeah, probably fully, but then at the same time, I'm not gonna lie. There is the fan side of it. Like I grew up playing Xbox, so I won't deny that that's a big part of, it for me.
There's a different
Matt,
feeling when you have an Xbox controller in your hand,
Not only
right?
that,
There's
that's
just
where a
like
lot of your
that
friends are.
feeling of home, right?
Hmm.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's definitely a feeling of home. I mean, and it's tough. Like I wouldn't necessarily say I'm biased towards it because I think the new PS5 controller is amazing. And I wish Xbox made a controller like that as well. It's rumored, I think it was rumored that they're kind of working on something like that.
Hmm.
But the PS5 controller is so cool how it has like all the trigger effects, and if you've played Astro Playroom on it,
Haptic
it has like
feedback.
yeah, the haptic, and then you like blow into the controller and all of like that stuff is cool.
Hmm.
And I think people do enjoy that, and I love that the PS5 controller has those features.
Until
Um,
this moment, I had forgotten PlayStation even had those features because the game
Same,
just don't use
same.
them.
Yeah, they don't
They
use
don't
them.
use
They
that
them.
is
don't.
true.
It
Yeah.
just feels like
So
a
That is
gimmick.
true.
yeah.
At least
Yeah.
in terms of Astro Playroom, but if you play like Last of Us and you use like a bow, for example,
You
like you can
feel it.
still use
Yeah, you
yeah, you
feel it.
can use those features to some extent.
Hmm.
But to all the other ones, yeah, like you guys are definitely spot on with that. It could be used more. Um,
Yeah, they
and
don't
some
utilize it enough.
yeah, and something I kind of wanted to chime into with like the characters when we were talking about like Nintendo and Xbox.
Hmm.
I feel like with Nintendo it works so well because they use their characters for so many different things, right?
Yeah,
Like you got
yeah.
like Mario is a soccer player, and then you
Cross
got
Yeah,
genres.
tennis.
monetize them.
Cross
You got
genres, bro.
oh my goodness, you got Link in a Dynasty Warriors format, and
Right.
Dude,
it's all over the
literally,
place.
Solid Snake can punch Mario in the face right now. I
Yeah.
mean, really,
That's
that's
amazing.
freaking
They
That's
awesome.
have their
amazing.
own fighting game, bro.
Solid
Yeah,
Snake can punch Sora,
yeah,
Right.
like
That is,
that. That's amazing.
and that's
That's
thanks to
amazing.
Nintendo.
Solid Snake can punch
Exactly.
Ryu. Like, think about
So,
all those things.
yeah.
and that was another talking point that came up with like Helldivers. People were saying, I had read that there were a lot of ideas for Halo
Hmm.
to do something similar to Helldivers,
Hmm.
the game style, but using ODSTs. And if you think about
They
it,
look like
the whole,
ODSTs.
that and the whole Halo sandbox
Hmm.
fits
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
like that. It,
Yeah.
At,
it
Yeah.
at, at
fits.
this at this time, it would feel like Halo would just be copying,
Yeah.
Exactly.
the other.
It's definitely too
Too late.
late.
Hmm.
But it goes back to like if Microsoft and Xbox are gonna hold on to Master Chief and Gears of War for the long run, they need to start using those characters in different genres. Like they gotta just go all out and try it.
They did the gear.
Uh,
They tried Gears Tactical, but it didn't really go anywhere.
yeah, I mean it was
It
cool.
was
I
cool.
enjoyed it,
Hmm.
but it was it was whatever. I enjoyed the Gears
Doesn't have to
Pop
be
mobile
games.
game more. That is true.
Yeah.
Yo,
It could be media,
I
movies.
remember them had like talk about like doing a Gears of War. Bro, I would spend money to
Well,
watch a Gears of War movie.
let's expand on that even more. Like, does it have to necessarily just be Marcus Phoenix and Master Chief?
No,
No,
Do the rest of
no,
the lore.
no.
Make games about the rest of the lore. It doesn't
You can
necessarily have
you
to
can
be
make
they
you
were
can make
trying
entirely
to.
new
They were
characters.
trying to pivot away from Marcus Phoenix though in Gears of War. To be
Yeah.
fair, because it's more
So,
about a Kate this time, and
like,
Yeah.
Marcus's
what's
son at this point.
the Gears of War's game take place like in some autistic world where like the bugs have taken over the world
Basically,
or something
humans
weird
have
like that,
moved
right?
has left Earth,
Yeah.
and they're kind of in
And
another
so
galaxy or some
where
stuff
did
like
that
that.
start?
Well,
Where did the world reach that point? You know what I'm saying? There's
oh, you're
there's
talking
way
about
you could
digging into like the lore and the
digging into
backstory.
the lore,
Hmm.
yeah. Going back, going
But I
forward,
don't think that.
there's
But
ways
I
to
feel like
do
you
it.
can still you can make other franchises too. Is what I'm saying. I don't know what PlayStation is doing that it's just their games when it comes out, it always hits the mainstream. I don't know if you guys noticed that. Any game that PlayStation drops hits the
You
mainstream.
mean like
Everybody's
PlayStation
talking.
exclusive?
Yeah, everybody's talking about it for some reason. Am I the only one
Marketing.
that
All
notices
the
that?
time.
all the
PlayStation?
time. Yeah,
and
Ghost of
it's
Tsushima,
defended
and it's
well.
always new games. Ghost of Tsushima is a relatively new franchise. Ghost of Tsushima is a new game. What was the other one?
Well, I think it's well. There's more PlayStation players than Xbox players,
Not
so that could
necessarily.
be the reason.
Not only that though. I just feel like it's something to do with marketing. It's like how they market their product.
Yeah.
Uh,
And then also, PlayStation is kind of more of a worldwide brand than Microsoft is, than Xbox is. So Xbox is known here in the United States and maybe North America, but if you go to, Japan or
they're
Europe,
recently trying to catch the Japan market. Yeah.
Xbox really isn't a thing out there.
Hmm.
So that could also be a huge
That's crazy to
factor
think
right
about.
there.
Yeah.
Xbox
Yeah.
is not really being a thing out there.
Yeah. They just recently started to tap into that market.
I mean, yeah, and
Yeah, I
even
believe they
then,
hired someone for that too. I think it was from PlayStation.
Oh,
I
really?
believe they hired. I believe so. I'd have to double check, but I know they hired someone recently,
Mm-hmm.
specifically for like those partnerships over there. So it
Mm-hmm.
looks like they want to take it more serious.
That's good.
yeah,
That's
and
good.
and they probably faced resistance and they realized, hey, that's just a money pit. So now we're just gonna go love,
Again,
the
that's
digital
a new
route.
pool to swim in.
So
I'm pretty sure that's how they look at it. So predictions, Ahmed. What games do you think? What other games do you think could potentially go third party from Xbox?
Oh man, I mean, could go third party.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I would say what I want,
Yeah.
and a lot of people don't agree, but I would love if Halo and Gears went third party. So
I
there's
would too.
so many people
Multiplayer.
don't like. Yeah, but no matter how they do it, whether they said, okay, you guys, we will open up multiplayer for the other platform, but you gotta, if you want to play the single player experience, you gotta buy it
Mm-hmm.
and play it on Xbox or through Game Pass. Period. It has to be through something Xbox related. They benefit from it.
Right.
Or if they ported the whole thing over, campaign and multiplayer, dude, I wouldn't be mad at it. I understand there's people that'll say, oh my goodness, those are the icons.
Right.
Like you can't, at that point, you're selling the brand.
But they're not being
And I
used.
and I understand that. I understand that. But if I knew Halo could get as a fan,
Mm-hmm.
if I knew Halo and Gears would get a longer lifespan
Mm-hmm.
because there's more people playing it and the
Why would you
demand is
turn that down?
significantly higher, I couldn't turn it down.
Why would you?
I couldn't.
That's a hot
I
take,
couldn't.
though, Aki.
And
Good
then
lord.
and
I
then
have
then
my
playing on
answer,
PC.
Aki.
Then play on
When
Fuck
you're ready,
PC.
exclusives.
I have my answer,
All right.
but
Let him
I
continue. Let
guarantee
him
you, listen
finish.
to the next one. Yeah, go
Let
ahead
Aki
though.
finish.
The last thing I would say is playing on PC on top of that, it's like with the crossplay potential there,
Mm-hmm.
you have if you think back to Sea of Thieves, right? You have now new quote unquote, for the sake of discussion, new pirates in the seas now, from a PC perspective, you have more players on it. It's more variety. So if that same thing applies to Gears and Halo, I can't be mad at it. Not only from a business perspective, because people they will buy the games. Like PlayStation players will buy the games. And if you think back to Sea of Thieves recently as well, it was confirmed that you need to have a Microsoft account to play Sea of Thieves
Yeah.
on a PlayStation. So I had made a post and I was questioning, how many new players now that own a PS5, for example, for the first time, are now going to have their first Xbox account, aka Microsoft account, just because they want to play Sea of Thieves.
Right.
Now they're in the Xbox ecosystem,
Mm-hmm.
so
True.
it's interesting.
True.
Mhm.
You know something I noticed too? Doesn't Xbox own Double Fine Studios?
I'm not quite
Which
sure.
who makes that
They make
Double Fine?
Psychonauts. They
Hmm.
own Double Fine, right?
I
I
believe
don't
so.
know.
I think
So
that is an exclusive.
so think about this for a second. Psychonauts 2 came out in 2021. Psychonauts 2 is now available on all platforms. Microsoft, Windows, PlayStation 4, Linux, Mac OS, Xbox Series X, and S Xbox One. It's on PlayStation. How are people not talking about this? How did these games like get such a blow up? But this game has been available as a multi-platform game for quite some time. no one was talking about this.
It must have a really small fan base. That doesn't really
Psychonauts was a
exemplify
big
it.
game. That Psychonauts was like
Was it?
people were clamoring. Psychonauts has a strong fan base,
Hmm. I've
That's
never
a great
personally
point.
played it,
right?
but
I just like double checked just now. Oh, wait a minute. Isn't Psychonauts on PlayStation? I looked. It is there. It's there.
You know what that reminds me of too? This happened similarly with MLB.
Mm-hmm.
When MLB first came to Game Pass and
Right.
you loaded it up, it loaded up with a PlayStation, I think it was PlayStation or Sony Studios
Right.
That's crazy.
screen
Mm-hmm.
on an Xbox Game Pass, and nobody was talking about it.
Wow.
Nobody was talking about it. It was you could, dude. You literally you turn on your Xbox, you load up MLB, you see the PlayStation screen, Sony Studio screen from your Xbox console, and from that moment, I'm like, whoa, this is kind of weird.
hmm.
Like,
So
this
now
is
it
No, I
this
feels
never.
is
like they're
I
cherry
interesting.
picking. Now it feels like people are cherry
yeah.
picking then, right?
Didn't they do the same with Laura Croft, the newer Tomb Raider movie? Like not the remaster, but the old other ones
The
that
the
Crystal
the, the
Dynamics made.
first yeah the first Crystal
Yeah, they
Dynamic
were.
game, it was
Was
on
originally on
Xbox.
Xbox.
But I
Yeah,
feel
and
like
now
that
it's
was more of
available
a
on all.
nah, I feel like that was more of a timed exclusive situation.
Mm.
They had it for like the first year and then eventually went cross platform. But Xbox owns Double Fine Studios is what I'm saying, and Psychonauts is on PlayStation.
Mm.
So it's like, why did that not like catch people's attention initially? And this game came out in 2021.
So you're saying
Maybe
what they did?
Microsoft did that on purpose. Maybe they just wanted to put it out there and see,
No,
how
but
many
the thing
players
is,
go
it
on.
didn't catch people's attention, is what I'm saying. No
That is
one
so
is
that is
talking
the
about it.
Microsoft exclusive that's on PlayStation.
Yes,
So it's like what they do with these 4 games. They've already done it
they've
before.
already done it before. So why did
I
this? Why was this a big
You know,
thing, but not
you know
that?
what you know what I think happened.
What?
I feel like I feel like everything that happened with the Activision Blizzard King
Mm-hmm.
acquisition,
Yeah.
I think from that moment on, once Xbox said, "Hey, we're gonna buy Call of Duty,"
Mm-hmm.
I think from that moment it was like Xbox is news coverage material from this point on.
Oh, until
Yeah,
Because
everybody was
that,
just covering everything they did at
y-
that
y-
point. That's a good
yeah,
point.
you
because
know,
think about it, right? From before that, what was the big headlines? Okay, yeah, people were probably crapping on whatever Starfield or Halo for a bit, but
Right.
it didn't feel like everyday news. But
Right.
once the Activision acquisition happened, oh my goodness, you had people that never listened to a court case in their life listening to this
that's valid.
trial.
That's
Like
facts.
That's
everyone was in
valid.
tune.
Mm-hmm.
Me
Everyone.
personally, I've talked about Xbox more in the last 3 weeks than I probably have in the last 10 years. So,
Word.
it's like, so the news is getting now. Xbox is on the brain now, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
and
So,
the thing
yeah,
is,
it
right?
worked.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. The thing is with Xbox too, right? Yeah, like you said, nobody was really paying attention to Xbox, bro. Nobody was really like checking for Xbox like that until this happened. But what I found funny was people were actually saying, "Oh, this will never go through. Xbox is never gonna get Call
they
of
were saying
Duty,"
that, and they got it.
and they got it. They got it after what, a year,
That's
2 years? It was like
Yeah.
oh
two
It,
year.
man.
It was a two
it was
years.
like right about the middle of the pandemic that
Yeah.
that news dropped, and
Mm-hmm.
took it till the end.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Jim Ryan was fighting tooth and nail. They were trying to get them to not purchase that, bro. Trust me,
Yeah.
because he said it. Like,
Um,
listen, Call of Duty is a driving force for PlayStation. He said that. The
yeah.
CEO of Sony said that.
But wait, Call of Duty is
And
not an Xbox exclusive though.
No, it's not.
no.
But they're saying so. He feared that if Microsoft had
Bought
bought
it, they
Call
would
of Duty,
make it.
but I said this too. Like, this would be a dumb idea on Xbox's part because you would be essentially killing the fan base at that point.
Yeah, you
Because
would.
you're making the pool smaller.
It's like buying. It's like buying a Pokemon collectible card and then making it worthless.
Right. Like, why would you
Here's
do that?
here's my hottest take of the days.
Mhm.
I wish I had a time machine. I could go back and just erase Call of Duty from existence.
That's
You
crazy,
know,
bro.
Why?
that game. I just thought I don't
That's
like
what you're
that
doing
game.
with your time machine.
I don't. Yes, exactly. I
Okay,
don't
but the
like
thing
those
is, that's
games. I don't
that's
like
what people
the.
were talking about the most out of this acquisition. Nobody talked about freaking Warcraft. I didn't hear anybody talk much about Warcraft at all, and that's probably the bigger game,
What?
right?
Well, I
For
think
real.
Right?
I
For
think
real.
I think overall Blizzard has really fallen from grace. People really don't. They
Because of
don't
the
want
whole
to talk
Bobby
about
Kotick
the.
situation.
they don't want to talk about them, because it's like it's kind of like that
Because
one uncle you don't talk
scumbags.
about. You know what I'm saying? It's
Right.
like
There's a few things.
you live in denial.
Hmm.
The one thing that did it for me is what they did with Overwatch. I bought Overwatch twice, one for PlayStation, one for PC.
Hmm.
Then they said that they were making Overwatch 2, and they were going to make it PvE. And then they released Overwatch 2, shut down the servers for Overwatch 1. They didn't release a new game. My Overwatch 1 said, "Hey, updating." When it finished updating, it was now called Overwatch 2. You never got the PvE. And
They're
it's just
still
like
working on it, Heartless. They said that.
and this was no, they gave up on it. They admitted that they gave up on it. And this is all their way of just introducing a battle pass live
Mhm.
service
Aspect of the game.
aspect to the game, which is crazy.
Yeah, like, a
Yeah.
lot. I feel like a lot of people
As
are
I said,
shifting.
And
Blizzard
people
used
see
to
that.
mean if you said the name Blizzard, that instantly meant quality. I would instantly pay $85 for a game that came from Blizzard maybe
Mhm.
5, 6 years ago,
What
maybe
is
10
with
years
you
ago.
and wanting to spend more money on
Right?
games?
I'm saying,
I'm,
Blizzard means quality. It used to be anyway, but now if you say Blizzard, I'm like, hell no.
So I'm gonna
So
hit you guys with another one too. Rare Entertainment is on other platforms. Well, it's on Nintendo. It's been on Nintendo for a while. They've had Rare games on the platform. Xbox
what's Rare
owns
that
Games?
Rare. They made the original Banjo and Kazooie, and
Oh, wow.
they made the first James Bond game as well, the double oh
Wow.
007. They made Donkey Kong, right? Yeah, they made Donkey Kong. What else? They made a few games for Nintendo back in the day, but then Xbox bought them out.
um,
Oh, they
that
made
brings
Killer
me to
Instinct too. They made the first Killer Instinct. I think
that
the
brings me
first
to my
two.
prediction for the
Mhm.
next PlayStation game that's coming to PlayStation. It's going to be Killer
Killer
Instinct.
Instinct would make a lot
Guaranteed.
of sense because now a lot
Guaranteed.
of people would hop on Killer Instinct for
That's it. Trying
sure.
to breathe life into
Yeah,
stagnant
they would
player
bring the
bases.
game back. That would actually
I don't
revive
know
the
if there's anything
game.
that could bring that game back.
You don't think so?
That's a
It,
great.
uh,
That's a great
it,
take.
it's got
Yeah.
rollback now, and it's
Yeah,
got a
it has
balance of
rollback.
yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah, and what
they have
happened?
balance
And what
patches.
happened? And what
What?
happened? Everyone downloaded it for a day and
because
then
it's
stopped
on
playing it.
Xbox.
That would
Xbox
help his
gamers don't
case.
play
Yeah,
fighting games.
yeah. Because
You
if
know?
it goes on other platforms, more people would play the game, especially on PlayStation.
The
I'm
game's
pretty
like
sure.
9 years old. All I'm saying is that the last time they tried to revive the game, it just
Mhm.
didn't seem like the
Yeah,
revival was successful.
well, in the terms of fighting games, is a special animal because the tournament standard is PlayStation for all games except for Switch.
Mhm.
So yeah, so if you're gonna play a fighting game, you might as well play on PlayStation because if you go to a tournament, you're gonna have to play on a PlayStation anyway.
Right.
So
And it
um,
was free to play. It's free to play.
Yeah,
So
exactly. It's free to play.
What's
that
free to play?
Killer
Killer
Instinct.
Instinct.
No, it's not. You
so
get two characters in the free to play version.
Nah, I
That's
didn't
true.
buy the game. Oh, did you? I didn't
you
buy
Yeah,
it.
get
Oh, I have Game
you
Pass.
get
That's why. Never
you
mind.
get Jago, who's always there. Then you
Mhm.
get
yeah.
one or two more revolving characters.
So
That's
it's
why
like Grand Blue.
Yeah.
Nah, with less characters. But that's why I installed the game. That's why I installed the game, and then I was just like, I
But you
can't play
did.
with
But
these
But the
guys.
thing is, you don't have people playing with you. That's the other thing. There's no community behind the game that with you playing. So I
I
feel
get
like,
it.
all right,
Props
Harless,
to
we play a lot of
AI.
fighting games, right? If
Yeah.
I feel like if we dedicate like a few streams, who knows who we would attract to the game?
I mean, that's true. We do have a lot of success, and whenever game we play, we end
You
up
guys
finding
know
people.
youngster
Right.
Joseph, right?
Yeah, of
Shout out
course.
Joseph's
Shout out to
Fight
Youngster
Night.
Joseph.
Shout out
Yeah.
youngster Joseph.
The last stream I was on, he said he's considering doing KI tournaments now that it has rollback. So there you go.
I played
Put
once
that on
before
Play-
on stream.
Yeah.
It was
Put that
fun.
on PlayStation.
Mhm.
Boom, you would have a great experience if it
I'm
was on,
telling you, I feel like it would revive the player base, bro. If it
Absolutely
goes
would.
to PlayStation, forget about it. It's out of here.
And think about it too. Like they have some Xbox characters on there. Like was it
Matt,
General
yeah,
Rom
yeah,
and
from Gears of War. Yeah, he was
and
in there.
so leave those only available on Xbox,
Mm-hmm.
and then the PlayStation one would have Kratos in it, or so Kratos' kid or whatever.
That'd be
So
dope. It's like a Soul Calibur approach.
yeah, or a Destiny character,
I like-
whatever. So
I think Aki mentioned this, or somebody mentioned this earlier, where they said the multiplayer will be on both systems, but Gears of War story will stay on Xbox. If you want to experience the story, you have to experience
Yeah,
it
Aki
on
said
Xbox.
that. Aki said
Aki
that.
said that.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's I don't know how feasible that is, but that to me sounds like a great way to introduce people across the player base of PlayStation
Mm-hmm.
to IPs of the Xbox and make them
It's
think to
almost like a
themselves,
teaser. Like
it's
get
like a
him.
tease, like,
Yeah.
I love this multiplayer.
Mm-hmm. I
I
wonder what's
love
the
this
And
story
first
like.
of
multiplayer.
all, KI shouldn't be an exclusive game anyway. Fighting
It shouldn't.
games
It
It
should not
shouldn't
be.
be.
should
It
never
should be
be
across. It
exclusive.
should be a cross-platform
Outside
game.
of the Switch, outside of Smash Brothers, fighting games should never be
They don't have
exclusive.
Gray and
Agreed.
Blue on. There's no Gray and Blue on Xbox.
No, it's not. It's not.
It was crazy. It
But
was
No.
it's
crazy.
the. But think about the player base in Grand Blue. It's not that. It's not a
It's not
vast
big at
player
all.
base. So if they
Just
made
saying.
that, if they made that
I will.
cross-play, then what would
I will
happen?
die on that hill.
There's other issues
Fighting
with the game
games should
apparently.
never be
Yeah.
exclusive ever.
Yeah.
So
All right,
I
guys.
feel that way about Party Animals.
Oh
That
yeah.
game, the player base, it's Xbox. It's an Xbox game, but you know the player base has been getting pretty small as of recent, and it's a really good game. I don't know if you guys ever play Gang Beasts or Party Animals in general.
No, I have the party
Uh,
animals though, but I've never played it because nobody wants to play with me. Apparently.
it's so, dude, it's so much fun. Even solo, I
Yeah.
definitely recommend trying it. It's a lot of fun. Dude, I'd even play it with you
Yeah.
if you wanted to
All
play.
right.
Yeah,
Sure.
man,
Shit.
you can do 4-player squads, and it's really cool. 2-man squads, it's fun.
Yeah.
But you know the player base is small, and sometimes I feel like it could be long to get into a match. So if something like that, went multi-platform, it fits on a Switch for sure.
Mhm.
It's not like the most graphically demanding game, and then you got, you put it on PlayStation. They love that stuff. It has Sackboy over there, so it'll
Mm.
sell easily over there.
Yeah, that's cool.
Uh, it,
I think
it'll be nice.
Mhm.
I think the coolest KI guest character for PlayStation would be Aloy from what's the name of that
Oh,
game?
she would make perfect sense.
She
'Cause
would-
she would fit
man,
in
she
with
would-
like Tusk.
awesome.
She would fit in
She
with
would be
like
the
Tusk
coolest,
from KI.
Yeah, she would
How do
be
you
That
the
spell
would be
that?
coolest.
awesome.
How do you
Yeah.
spell that
So
person?
that
Who?
and
Aloy?
Aloy.
Aloy,
Yeah. It's
and
from
that would put some and that would
Horizon Forbidden West.
yeah
That character.
and that would put some respect on her games because she's been a game which is great that
Oh
has
yeah,
been
she
victim.
looks like she would fit in.
Yeah, she
That has
definitely
been
fits in
victim
KI.
to other games coming out that have just taken the audience away from a great game. So it
Mhm.
would, put some respect on her
This
games.
game kind of looks
So,
graphically beautiful.
No, it is.
It is
It
great.
is.
That's another great take. Like that would be
So,
a perfect fit for
Mm.
Killer Instinct.
Yeah. So yeah, bro. We did.
yeah, so
There is
let's make
so
it
much.
happen. Make it happen, Microsoft. Let's do it.
Let's
do
start
this, okay?
trending. Let's make KI trending
Let's
on
start
Twitter.
that.
We need to make this
Chat,
podcast trending.
Well,
chat
true.
in the audience.
And then we can have a voice. That
Chat
people
in the
can
audience.
hear
We're
us.
gonna make some clips of this moment, and we need you guys to use the hashtag KI on PlayStation. Okay.
I
And
clipped you saying, "Clip this moment." I'm making my bets right now. I clipped that for you.
Okay.
Mhm.
We need you guys to rally for the cause and also to revive
Also,
arcades.
Aki, my
Don't
name is
forget about
also the same here on Xbox, so we can link up over there as well.
And
I got you.
Yeah.
we've been at it for almost 3 hours. Are we
This
gonna talk about
this is the longest podcast we've had so
Are
far.
we gonna talk about the sales, or are we gonna wrap it up, or what are we at? Where are we?
We
feeling
could
with
do
the
all of
vibe?
that. Just like closing statements. Like we could close out on what do we think about the industry? Is the industry dying or
Carlos,
is
you
it
gotta thank
evolving?
the audience for sticking around. That's incredible. You guys got
What are we
stamina.
thinking about the industry? Is it dying or is it just
No.
evolving?
Gaming will never die. Will never die. I think the more and more generations we go through, the
Mhm.
higher percentage of that youth is into gaming.
Mhm.
I think when the science comes out, like over long periods of time, they're gonna realize kids should be playing video games moderately.
Mhm.
It's a healthy way to stimulate the brain, if done in moderation. And I think that video games are becoming more accessible, and I think more people overall play games, and I think the gaming industry will look different in the future,
Mhm.
but it'll never die.
The gaming industry
I
will
agree.
continue to be around. It's one of those things that'll never go away. It's
Mm-hmm.
going to be here forever. It is a staple of entertainment now. And just adding on to the fact that I go to school for the degree is business, games, business, and esports. So like there's colleges that teach you the gaming industry now. So yeah, the gaming industry ain't dying, but
There's colleges that
It-
have esports teams on them now.
yeah,
Right.
exactly. It will not change. It's just going to change for right now. I would say the industry is maybe not thriving, but hopefully,
Isn't it still
we
like
can
the
we can.
biggest like entertainment
Media.
industry currently?
I'm not sure.
Maybe.
It
I
could
wouldn't be
probably
I
surprised.
think
likely.
the
They,
last time I checked it was.
people
Someone
love to
double
That
get
check
that
that.
involved.
probably is true.
Yeah.
Yeah,
People love
check
to
our
get
facts.
involved. I'm gonna look it up right now, but
Yeah.
people love to get involved, and what better way to get involved with the media than to play it?
Right.
Yeah,
Which
Aki,
form
thoughts?
of
and
What do you think? Industry, is it dying or is it evolving?
video games is
I'm
no
gonna
music
say
sales? Music sales.
Oh,
I'm
music
gonna
sales?
say it's definitely evolving. I
Yeah.
think it's evolving. I don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon. I think if you stay away from console warring, you get to enjoy what's
Facts.
gonna come from from everything evolving.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's digital, whether physical is around to stay or not, however that goes when the future comes, or maybe we're just at a place where everyone is on a subscription service or not. And if that's the times we get to, I'm open and accepting of it. I think it could be a good change, and I feel like it's an inevitable one. I also agree with the idea of esports and gaming just being around in that area for a while too.
Mm-hmm.
I think esports should be in more schools. I think there should be junior esports teams. Like kids
Ooh.
should get involved with esports as well.
Mm-hmm.
uh that kind of goes back to what I was saying with like Minecraft education before. Like they have a whole application for that,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like what better way for kids to resonate with their education than through an outlet that they're familiar with, like Minecraft.
Facts. Agreed.
Like it's an amazing thing, and like being behind some of those conversations with some of the schools that I've spoken to, it's awesome, like seeing the kids interact with Minecraft. And it was just a really cool experience, and just seeing how far gaming has come. Like,
Right.
wow, there's a game in a classroom and students are using it to learn about a science course or whatever, and they're having fun.
Right.
They're having fun, and I think that people seem to forget is like, yeah, you can start off gaming, but then that passion could fuel into something else.
Yep.
You can get into production, you can get into animations. Like
Computer engineering, all that stuff.
there's so many different fields that you can get
Storytelling.
into
Yeah. So much
just
avenues.
exactly,
from being a gamer, just from enjoying yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So
exactly.
I think it needs to be in more schools. Esports needs to continue growing and being supported and funded.
Mm-hmm.
And there's room for a lot of growth in the gaming industry.
I
I
also
totally agree because
I
a
also
lot of people.
think
Go ahead, Harley. Sorry.
I think there's another benefit we didn't mention here
Go ahead.
about video games and what they do to kids. Which adult do you think is going to be more creative? The one who spent his childhood absorbing different stories of all different kinds of peoples and all different kinds of emotions that those people can experience, or the ones who don't do any of that? The
Yeah.
ones who say video games are bad, the ones who stay away from that, the ones who stick to watching realistic life shows, and I think there is something to be gained by exploring stories, fake stories.
Let's look
Mm-hmm.
at traditional sports. If a high school student or elementary school student joins a traditional sport, it's going to be segregated boys, girls, probably mostly and who knows how that'll go. It'll be bro culture, girl culture, whatever. So you're not intermingling with not all people are represented with the people you're working with all the time.
Right.
And but look at a video game fighting. Look at the roster of any fighting game. Look at the representation of any fighting game. It's like kids are getting exposed to that, and it's just gonna help us grow as a society and kind of loosen these bonds that are holding us
Not only
back.
that, right? I feel like there's so much emphasis on like you said, like on sports within schools, right? There's not enough emphasis on like esports is like a full on career now. People are seeing success from esports, right? So I feel like there should be some kind of emphasis on that within schools and like teaching kids like they can actually make a career out of this. Like we're
Hmm.
not in the era of um old people thought like saying these you can't make a career out of video games or stuff like this, right? I feel like that's where we need to move from that because I
What's
still feel to
crazy?
some degree we're still there.
What's crazy?
Mm-hmm.
As counterproductive as this sounds,
Mm-hmm.
if you had a classroom for like middle schoolers
Mm-hmm.
about becoming a streamer, you know how many actually different things you learn?
Yeah, because you're teaching time management, um, money management as well,
Editing,
editing,
scheduling,
Editing.
scheduling,
Art.
planning,
every
You
the
you
idea,
bro.
have
There's so
Public
you'll
much.
be
speaking.
Public
you'll be
public
speaking,
speaking,
yeah.
the
Jesus.
You'll
ideas
be
of niches,
Mm-hmm.
the ideas of following trends, the ideas of communicating with others, the idea of leading others.
Self
It's
and
marketing.
self
yeah,
marketing.
Bro.
marketing. Yeah, and you have to
Social
like
media
keep yourself.
management.
You have to keep
Oh
yourself,
man.
in a presentable state to be a successful streamer.
Right.
So from there, you just, you're growing, you're making yourself a better person
You also
all
teach
the
them
way
about
around from top to
accountability.
bottom.
Hey,
Yeah.
you want to
Yeah.
make it in this world? You're going to be in the public space. You got to be accountable for your actions because they
Yeah.
will come one day to bite you
Yeah.
in the ass.
Not only
And
that, you have to self reflect.
like
Self
that whole
reflection.
saying, freedom of speech. Like, yes, you technically can say whatever you want, but you're not free from consequences, and that would kind of tie into that. Like, if you
Yeah.
say something outrageous on the internet, you're gonna get called out right away. So it
Right.
kind of keep things
Yeah, so
grounded.
there's a lot.
So
There's like within this space, there's so much to learn and so much to like grow from. So yeah, I feel like there needs to be more of this being taught in schools.
yeah. So Aki, I just want to say, I really appreciate, what your cause with trying to get esports into school. Obviously, I'm part of an esports organization. I would love to connect with you regarding your dream and help support it. So yeah, I would love to invite you into our Discord to help us help you reach your goals.
Help us, help you, help us.
What a
Right.
tongue twister.
Right.
I
Yeah.
appreciate that a lot. I will add you on Discord, and I would love to connect more and talk about that. It's a great thing, especially even knowing now that like you're part of an esports organization like that's.
Hmm.
I don't know, man. It is. I strongly feel that it's something that should continue to grow. It's so cool, from like a business standpoint. Whenever I see people that are involved or own a esports organization, or they're just a scout for players, like
Right.
for me, I see it like, what's the difference? Okay, other than I guess you could say the physical side of it, right? What's the difference between the kid that wants to go to school, maybe play basketball, play football, and make it to the NBA or NFL versus the kid that wants to, play esports? He's really good at a game. He might be exceptionally skilled,
Hmm.
and he wants to get signed to an esports team. Like kids, teenagers, adults, everyone has the opportunity to make a way in the industry, and it's just one of those things I love about gaming that I feel doesn't get talked about enough.
Right.
hmm
Yeah, for sure.
we are brothers in that goal for sure.
All right, bro.
All four of us here.
But yeah,
All right.
guys.
We're going to sign everything off, but I'm doing some research here because I talked about this before.
What?
They look at the calorie consumption of chess players during tournaments,
Mhm.
and for instance, right here, one Grandmaster Mikhail Antipov, there's
Mhm.
probably some Russian name I'm not pronouncing right, 600 calories in 200 hours. The
From playing
burn is
chess?
from in a chess tournament. The burn is equivalent to a 5-mile run.
Damn, bro.
So that when you are using your brain heavily, tremendously, your body is feeding that, and it is
Mhm.
working itself out. And I understand you can't just sit on your ass. You can't sit on that chair playing video games all day. That's not healthy.
You gotta
Don't
don't
do
forget
that.
to touch
Right.
grass. Touch grass,
Exactly.
bro.
Touch grass.
Touch that grass.
This is
Yeah,
all
let's
in
get out of here, guys.
moderation.
All in
Yeah.
moderation, bro.
You can apply that to any element of life
Mhm.
in moderation.
Everything is good in moderation. But yo, bro,
Um,
thank you guys, man. Tonight was a friggin' dope episode.
Yeah.
The longest one so
Uh,
far, and it didn't even feel like we were here for
Yeah.
friggin' 3 hours. To be honest.
Stay tuned, guys.
Uh,
We're gonna be
Aki, I
giving this away.
apologize for holding you here so long, bro.
He
I
told us he
apologize.
had 1 hour.
1 hour. This
3
man
hours.
said he had 1 hour. He's still rocking with
Yeah.
us right now,
Well, I
bro.
appreciate you sticking around the whole time. I
Yeah,
mean,
bro. Shout
we
out
had
to
some
Aki.
hot takes, some lukewarm takes. Hey, what's with the thumbs down?
Who did that?
Who's doing that? Who's doing that?
Wait, who gave us a
Uh,
thumbs down?
Who
Where?
did the thumbs
Yeah.
down? I don't even know
Who's
how
got
that
the
works.
thumbs down?
Yeah,
I
know
don't even know
how-
you could do that.
I
But
didn't even know that. Who did that?
the
Wait, they made thumbs down pop up on the stream?
Yeah,
yeah,
Nah,
right
I
on
didn't
my
know.
head. I think
right
someone's
on
thumbing
germ.
me
Right
down.
on germs.
Yeah. Uh,
I don't know who did that.
yeah.
That's
So I just want to say
crazy.
thanks again. I really am behind everything you said about getting esports into school. So
All right,
I would
before we
love to
close
talk.
out, yeah, before sorry, Germ. All right, before we close out, Aki, let the people know where they can find you.
I just want to say shout out to you guys for and shout out to Cash for inviting me over here. This was a lot of fun.
A lot of
I know
fun.
I did say an hour, but I had muted for a second. I spoke to my wife. I'm like, I don't want to like leave in the middle of this. Like, this is really good talking points. Can I chill? And she was like, yeah, yeah, definitely enjoy it. So it worked out perfectly.
Right.
I
Shout
enjoyed
out to
this a
the wife.
lot.
You have a great
Yeah,
wife there. Shout out to
Mm,
her.
thank you,
yeah.
thank you. So it was nice to be a part of this. I had a lot of fun, and you guys can find me on X or Twitter. I'm with Cash, whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
My
Twitter.
Twitter handle
Twitter.
is Aki Gaming. I think it's the same as my Discord.
Yeah.
AHKIGAMING. Thank
Yeah.
you
Is all,
guys.
is all this
Thank
going to
you.
be linked in
I
the
think I'm.
description?
Yeah, I'm gonna link everything
All
in
right,
the
cool.
description. I'm trying to
Perfect.
find him right now because I did shout him out earlier, but I want to pin him so people can see him.
Cool.
Jeremy, you
Oh
go
man.
next, kid.
Jeremy, go.
All
Jeremy.
right. So again, thanks for tuning in, everyone. This was one of the longest talking sessions I've ever had in my life. I don't think I've been on dates this long. I had
Jesus Christ.
Crazy. That's
uh,
not that's not a flex. That's
you
not the
know,
flex you
yeah.
think it is.
But um, yeah, it was great. We got some really hot takes today. I am really interested to see where the industry of games goes. But shout out to my team, Excel Element Lifestyle Sports and Gaming. We are currently recruiting everything that you need. We have media, we do sports, we do video games, we do content creation, all that type of stuff. So if you are interested in joining up with us and helping to explore whatever fuels you, we would love to talk and just get to know you a little bit so we could help you reach your full potential. Here's the Discord here in the chat. Check us out. We would love to just pop in, say hi. We want to get to know everyone. So
Side note, I just pinned Aki in the chat as well. So yeah, I'll go give him a follow if you guys are on Twitter. Please, please, please go give the homie a follow. It was super dope of him to come in here and just hang out with us and just like shoot the shit. It was
That's
amazing.
big facts. Cash, am I doing these affiliate links?
Yes, please. I'd love to
Uh,
hear you say them.
so it's Origin and Gamefly, right?
Yes, Gamefly, those two.
All right, guys, come check it out. All right, listen. Here's the affiliate links for this week. Once again, we have Origin PC, an award-winning company that builds custom PCs for gamers and professionals. Please check them out, guys. Any purchase on there, we get a cut of it, and that cut goes directly into making this a better product for everybody. They don't just sell PCs; they got like peripherals and whatnot. So please definitely give them a check out. And the other affiliate link that we have is GameFly, where you can rent discs, play games unlimited, and buy used games and movies. So please, that is the next link. As you guys know, anything that goes on through there supports the cause. I don't even want the money. I want to make a better product. That's what we want. We
Facts,
always
facts,
we just want a
facts.
better product.
Mm-hmm.
And as always, it's better than donating because you get something for yourself. I think it's the best way to support us. Shout out to you guys though, as always. Shout out to Aki. Thank you for coming here, bro. Shout out to Germ. You are an amazing co-host. Shout out to Cash. You are an amazing host.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, so
Thank you
we
guys.
have big game sales for this week, but guys, just go check out the podcast, please. It's in the podcast notes. Jeremy, if you want to breeze through them real quick, you can.
yeah,
And it's just three.
the only one I really want to highlight is the one of the games releasing that we talked about earlier this week,
Mm-hmm.
earlier in the podcast. The Brothers, The Tale of the Sons
Mm-hmm.
remake. That one is currently on sale on Humble Bumble. So if you want to check out that one, please check it out. And then I also just want to put a shout out on Mortal Kombat 1. Um, it now has crossplay. So now all the
Oh,
player
finally,
bases are now joined as
finally.
of the
I can't shit on
Peacemaker
Mortal Kombat.
launch. Yeah, crossplay was also finally added. So
Good for
yeah,
them. Good for
PlayStation,
them.
Xbox players unite. So
Still never gonna buy the
finally,
game, but good for them.
yeah. I won't be buying the game until they just make it worth my money. So but yeah, so if you guys use any of these links, we do get a little bit of that percentage cut kickback. So it really helps us out, just like Heartless said. If you don't see anything, if in case of these games don't interest you, any game that you buy off that website, we get a little bit of a kickback. So it does help us. So Yeah, check them out. You won't if Helldivers is on there, we'll help. We'll see you. Helping to spread the democracy. We'll see you out there.
See you spread the democracy, bro.
I will
Hmm.
be giving these away. I'm gonna look for a creative way to give these away throughout the week. So just stay tuned. Next week I'll have something for you guys.
I got some stuff too, guys. I'm gonna be real with y'all. I got a bunch of stuff that I can actually give away. I just can't find them right now. But we'll
Yeah, I
probably
got.
post them in the
I got.
Discord or something.
I give a little bit of a taste of it earlier. I got some goodies that
All
we
right.
can
All right.
talk about
So,
now.
with that said, thank you guys for coming through. Also, if you guys listen on Apple or Spotify, be sure to give us 5 stars so it moves up in the algorithm so, our show can go out to more people that would
We
like to
have a
hear what we have to
goal.
say.
We have a goal of 1,000 downloads over the course of the show. So the quicker we get to that, the quicker it'll open more doors for us. So spread the word, tell your friends and family about this episode and all the episodes, and have them listen.
All right. Have a good night, y'all. Oh, wait a
All
minute. We
right,
didn't rate out. Sorry.
democracy. No,
Oh
it's
yeah, we
like
gotta rate
this.
out.
What are we
It's
rating
like
out to?
this, Heartless.
I'll go
It's
find
like
out.
this, Heartless.
Just right now.
Democracy.
We're gonna go find out who
I'm
we're
going to rate
rating
out
out
the
to.
Kai Cenat, guys.
All right, it's like
No, don't do
this.
that.
Are you
Democracy.
crazy? I'm not doing that.
Rate rate out to Hades, Lord Hades, Lord
Yeah.
Lord X Hades, please.
Okay. Oh, he is live.
Yes, he is. That was kind of surprising to see him live now, but
Let's rate out to him.
And final shout out to our honored guest, Aki. Please check him out. His links are here in the chat. So please drop him the follow, show him the support. He's
I got
got big dreams. Show him the love.
Thank you
invite
guys
you
again.
here.
I'm about to drop out. I'll tune into the rest of what's left for the stream, and I appreciate you guys a lot for inviting me up today. I had a lot of fun.
We,
All
I had a
we
right.
lot of fun
We
appreciate
having you
did
here.
too.
you.
Thank you.
Yeah, DM me on Discord, and I would love to find a way that XLM can help you reach your dream.
He's in the Discord as well, so you guys can
Cool.
Thank you.
connect there.
I just sent you a friend request, so I'll send a DM your way.
Oh, I'll confirm that as soon as I can.
All right.
Perfect. Thank you guys. Have a great night.
You too, bro. Thank you.
You too. Thanks.
Alrighty, we're gonna close this here out.
Are we rated?
No, it's starting. It started. It started. Right.